All right.
I'm gonna head to your channel and I'm gonna follow you. Or I already subscribed, but I'm gonna.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Randy. Hello, everybody. What are those? YouTube channel coming at you live for the first time. We have SleepynComics with us, the comic expert aficionado, and we have the real Randy Chavez, YouTuber extraordinaire. And yeah, he's got Dashy behind him. Of course, my name's Joe. This is Carl.
What's up?
We're excited to be with you. And if you don't know what this is in reference to, then you don't know like the OG viral YouTube videos, okay? Where it's like, where the gold at? I got the gold. You got to go look up that YouTube video. So anyway, we're just talking to SleepynComics. Sleepin', you're in Minnesota.
I am.
And all things Minnesota Twins. Are you a Timberwolves fan?
I am a Timberwolves fan. I used to be a season ticket holder a long time ago with Kevin Garnett and the whole gang.
KG.
That was super fun. Yeah, that was when the years were good. Now now we're coming back. This year's been a good year for us. So
yeah. In
just
Minnesota
smashed
Wild
the
as well.
Lakers yesterday. So
okay,
like that.
Lakers, who also used to be in Minnesota.
Right. That's kind of wacko. Yeah, if you really know history, right? Yeah,
for sure. And Randy just got done streaming for a couple of hours with some ex-Disney employees. Tell us about that a little bit, Randy. Like some hot points that happened.
Okay, so they were going over the duos that were announced on, like a few hours ago, and the duos being Timon and Pumbaa. And somebody brought up the point that we've never seen any more than two Disney golden moments at once. Like on the Valentine's Day, we had, the Donald Daisy Duck, and then we had the Lady and the Tramp. And on the main Disney drop week, we only had two per drop. So they think that they might break that this time, and we might have three different drops. So it'd be Timon and Pumbaa, and the bets might be for two other smaller ones. Like they wouldn't want to just blow it out with like Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, and then let's say like Lilo and Stitch all in the first one. They might have to spread those out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it says here's some Disney duos. It's like, okay.
What about like Mandalorian and Baby Yoda?
That'd be great. And that was brought up as well. There's a lot of things that people brought up, but that one they might save for a Star Wars thing. And if they didn't have it at the end of Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett, they probably wouldn't have it right now. They might save that for Book of Boba Fett Part 2 or Mandalorian Part 3 and go from there.
Yeah.
They're going to make us wait.
It's pretty crazy all the rumors going on around Disney right now. I know you did a couple videos on that as well, Randy, about possibly like a buyout situation, but how would that work? What are your thoughts on that?
So I would think that there's a lot to take into account, but most notably, I think Facebook, which has, and again, this is just speculation, I don't necessarily know, but it does seem like Facebook would be one of the major culprits that would want to buy VeVe Nakomi, because they've also bought Instagram, they bought WhatsApp, they tried to buy Snapchat, it didn't work, but they did kind of snipe Bob Iger, who is now working for their Genies app, and it's like a 3D build avatars app. So I think that's their chance to get their foot in the door with Disney. And I think at some point we're going to have a three-way partnership between Disney, VeVe. Well, Disney and VeVe already have a partnership, but I think Facebook will get in there as well, because even though they've had 10,000 people working on their metaverse for a year or more, they don't have any IP of their own. They have a couple of those Facebook games, but that's about it. Right. It'd make sense that they would lend out some of that technology, some of that development, and they would probably say, hey, Disney, you can use this. Just give us some of your IP, license it out.
Right. Yeah, there was some, I keep hearing like, oh, Bob Iger's going to take his some Disney avatars and Disney characters over there. Like, how would that work?
So you can do that because they're just avatars, and you can do a Mickey Mouse avatar and you can customize it. So it's not really a collectability thing that they're doing. It's just doing it how you want. Like, let's say if they had a Mike Wazowski one, over there, you could do it without braces. So it's not the Monsters University one. It's the first one that came out. And again, there wouldn't be really any collectability of them because there'd be 40 million of them. But they would all be unique, and some might, the cream might rise to the top. But Instagram did just announce that NFTs will be coming there. Facebook owns Instagram. It would make some poetic sense if there's like, oh, what are some of the best NFTs out there? And you have your Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, you have stuff like that. But you also the Waltz. You have the first Batman, like the Todd McFarlane one that you have over there. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Most definitely. Sleepin', what do you got to say about that?
I don't know. The only thing that I don't know a lot about those acquisitions and other things, but the one that I thought was interesting, just because I used to play World of Warcraft a lot, was Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And, I don't know, everybody's speculating on what this metaverse is going to be. But since I used to play World of Warcraft, that in my mind is what I think a metaverse is. You've got, I think at its peak, it had like 15 million people playing. You're all in the same world. And if you haven't played the game, it's really crazy. There's, all kinds of people running around. There's hubs like cities where people hang out and they leave to do quests. And as the year goes by, they have different festivals for each season, and Christmas, Halloween, and everything changes, the seasons. So this is technology that's been around. I don't know how long World of Warcraft has been around. Let's make it up, 15 years. And so, once again, you skin it to be Walt Disney World, or you skin it to be Marvel World. That makes sense to me. You could, you kind of, when you're leveling, you kind of walk around, and then eventually you can get horses and go faster. And then eventually you can, get dragons, and then you fly around, and it's crazy. And so once again, I think of all these things, plus it's the camaraderie, it's the fun with people. It's exactly what, kind of VeVe spaces, or excuse me, Twitter spaces are for VeVe right now, but it's avatars running around and everybody's wearing a different costume and blah, blah, blah. And you're talking out. So I see them getting that technology, Microsoft, having that, already understanding what it takes to put 15 million people in one place, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was a big acquisition by Microsoft.
Definitely. And I guess that's why people are so excited to have the VeVeverse come to life, and their collectibles that they've all fallen in love with, especially if you're collecting like Marvel Mighties on the hopes that they'll be gamified for sure. That's why I started picking them up, like the Secret Rare 2099 and Doctor Doom, of course, and trying to stack those. Yeah. So anyway, real quick, Sleepin', what was your first comic book that you purchased in real life and also on VeVe? And what are your favorites for in real life and on VeVe?
I think the first one that I purchased back when I was like a teenager, maybe younger. No, probably a teenager, because I might have been 13 or something like that. And just, some Spider-Man, Daredevil, stuff like that. And X-Men. I remember that. I didn't really collect weekly. I mean, I maybe collected weekly for like 3 months, and then school started again, and I didn't have enough money, and how that goes when you're a kid. And then for VeVe, the first one, I think the first one I got was it was, that day I think I bought Marvel Comics 1 and ASM 1. And then I started kind of stacking ASM 1. They were under $20 at that point. I think it was back in like in October or something like that. And I was just like, I obviously looked at the mint numbers. And as I've said to people, for me, VeVe made sense because of some of my background in collecting, in technology. I was in Bitcoin. I kind of got into Bitcoin around 2015, 2016. So I understood that, and I was okay with those concepts. And this is really the intersection of two of my hobbies, cryptocurrency and comic collecting. So it all made sense to me. And then eventually, I think even after a couple weeks, I was like, this is really making sense to me. They started coming out with more comics. I think probably 3 weeks in, I put a bunch of money in, grabbed a couple Todds and Superman, and then, I just got sucked in.
Yeah, easy to do for sure. So do you have a favorite one on the VeVe app? Favorite comic?
Back and forth. Probably Ultimate Fallout 4 right now. I'm a huge Miles Morales fan. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's probably my favorite. One of my favorites in real life too.
This guy's is a big. I'll let you take over. He's a big fan.
Yeah, before I take over, we were talking about this rating system, and there's been some scuttlebutt conversations going on about the rating system. So we came up with our own.
Yeah, we have our So we have. Yeah, we just randomly thought of it right now. It's called the CBC comic book or CBG comic book grading. Okay, and you got to grade it, Sleeping. We're gonna play a game real quick.
All right,
we'll just do
lay it
right
on
now.
me.
Remember the whole Chili's thing?
Yes.
I think that's funny. Okay, that was funny. This whole
how many chilies?
How many chilies? So you got to do it 1 through 4. And we're gonna hold up a random comic. Now, when everything was pumping in mid-January, me and Carl were like, "Oh, we got to get all the stuff now. We got to get all the physical comics." And so we literally went around to different comic book stores.
So are you guys
picking up
physical
whatever.
comic book collectors? Like, do you have a ton of comics, or you're kind of just starting in now?
No,
Just started.
You're
All
looking
right,
at the
okay.
collection. You're looking at the collection right now.
Yeah.
All right, lay it on me.
We're just, we're just starting out here. So you tell us 1 through 4 chilies.
I like this.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Here's the first one.
All right.
Tell us
Secret
a little
Wars
bit about
8,
it. 10 seconds on it.
Origin of the Black Suit, 4 Chili Peppers. That's a big time. Mike Zeck. Yeah. That's a good book.
4 chilies.
4 chilies.
Put that over here.
Didn't
Yeah.
the one page out of that sell for like X amount of thousands of dollars?
I think it was
Like
actually 252, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Disregard.
Yeah.
Disregard.
But yeah, big time book. Good one.
Sweet.
Secret Wars is coming, so yeah, big time book. Good one.
I got that for $200. Is that a good deal?
It's not graded, so I'm unclear. I'd have to see it. But yeah, good deal. Good deal.
That he can tell I was new, probably.
You crushed them. You crushed them.
I like walked in like, give me your top shelf stuff. All right.
She-Hulk #1, first appearance of She-Hulk, 4 chilies. Plus, it's coming. She's coming. Obviously her show. That's been a hot book lately. I don't know how much you paid for it, but yeah, good one.
120.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Chill. You're double. Yeah.
I'll save this one. I
saw it already, but yeah, okay.
All right, fine. I'll show you.
All right. 42 Star Wars 42 first appearance of Boba Fett. Big time book lately was the Book of Boba. 4 chilies.
Whoa! 3 for 3.
Got some
Come on, the
over
first
here.
appearance of Boba Fett. Come on. All right,
I
let's
love
go.
this rating scale so far.
I love this game, as Randy would say.
I mean, I feel like you've picked. Okay, I don't know this book because I don't know DC well, so I can't tell you. It's embarrassing, but I don't know what that book
Give
is.
it a 1. Just
It's
give
a
it
1 chili.
Your scale. 1 chili.
Oh God, you're hitting me. I don't know. DC. I'm weak on DC.
What year are these
Name
from?
of
The
this.
rebirth ones.
Yeah, the rebirth. I know this. I'm familiar, but I don't know enough about these ones.
I got these for $8, and it doesn't say. I don't see the year on them.
I have not read that.
I just
series
grabbed
either.
anything that had edition #1 on it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the rebirth. They've done the rebirth only like 42 times, so
Yeah, this is August of 2016. It says
I like the covers though.
that is cool.
Flash
It
is
almost
so
looks
ripped.
lenticular, but not.
Yeah.
And I learned lenticular because of VeVe. All right, how about this one?
I don't know that book. I'm sorry.
Must be 4 chilies.
Yeah.
0 is 1.
1 chili.
You could take that.
But I could be, it could be incredible. I don't.
Avengers Forever. Okay, how about Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, I know that book, but I don't think it. I think it's a 1 chili.
1 chili. How
What was
about
that?
this
Say
one?
46?
1 chili. I know that book. It's a 1 chili. I'm sorry.
1 chili. Here we go.
Oh, it's the Hawkeye. Yeah, 1 chili. I know that series. Unfortunately, that's not a significant book in that series. So
Okay. All right. Okay. How about this one?
I don't know Superior Spider-Man well, so I don't know. I think it's probably a 1 chili.
Is
It's
that
just
the?
like go ahead, Randy.
Is that the one where that's not Spider-Man? That's actually Doc Ock?
You might know more than me, Randy, on that one.
So in Superior Spider-Man, I don't know if it's that particular issue, but Spider-Man, he acts like this really like jerky guy to like police and to like kids and really uncharacteristic. And then Dr. Octopus is about to die and Spidey's at like Avengers Tower. And then I think Captain America goes to Spidey's like, hey, Doc Ock's asking for you. And what you actually find out is that through some, either it's accident or as a purpose like experiment, Doc Ock and Spider-Man actually switch like bodies, like their minds. So Peter Parker is like 70 something years old as Doc Ock. He's like on like a lung. He's hurt real bad. And then at the end of, I don't know how many series it is, Doc Ock as Spider-Man, he punches, forget who he punches, but he punches his jaw clean off. And he realizes, oh, Spider-Man's been holding back. This is so much power. I don't know what to do. And eventually, after Doc Ock's body, Spider-Man dies. Doc Ock in Spider-Man's body, he cries like, "I promise, I'm going to be the best Spider-Man that there ever was," because he inspired him so much. It was a crazy series.
Wow.
I don't really remember it too much, but it was bananas.
Wow. So Sleeping, does this at least get 2 chilies now?
All right, 2 chilies. I just not familiar with that one. I'm sorry.
That was awesome, Randy. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm going to start reading these now. All right. How about this?
Oh, it's a Clone Wars one. Yeah. I've read that at 34. I've read that one. I don't think anything significant happens. Something significant happens in one of these 31s, but I can't remember which one it is. So I'll have to give it 2.
A 2 chili. 2 chili.
2 chilies.
All right. How about
That's the
this
most
one?
recent run. Oh, so this is the most recent run of Venom, I believe, which I have not read yet. I have them all. This is where, spoiler alert, Dylan Brock, Eddie's son, takes over as Venom. It's supposed to be good, so I'll give it 1 chili for now because I don't think anything significant happens in that first issue.
How about this Venom?
Okay, that's the first Venom of the last run. Nothing significant sadly happens into it. It's 1 chili, but it's the beginning of a great run.
I got you.
Put in the 1 chili pile.
I got this because it reminds me of my childhood. Saturday mornings. Get that lineup going.
Awesome. Yeah. So I don't even know that one. There's so many X-Men books.
Wait, does that say Wolverine is Ghost Rider or verse Ghost Rider?
I don't know this. Yeah, I'm going to give it 1 chili, but it looks like an awesome book.
Versus.
I'm pretty sure it's Jim Lee's art there too, so we'll take that too.
Oh, so how many did you say?
Well, I'll give it 1, but 2.
1.
We'll give it 2. I don't know. My rating is either 1 or 4. I'm not a very good.
Here's another X-Men.
So this is the most printed book of all time, X-Men 1 in that series. I think it's like 1 million. Literally, I think there was a print run of like 1 million of these. And I'm not saying 1 million to exaggerate. I mean, I literally looked up 1 million print runs.
Was it that good? Like, was it that epic at the time?
Well, no, it's just that many people were buying comics at the time. But that's an awesome comic. It's gone up in value. I'll give it a 2 because before there were so many, but now a lot of people want it, and so I actually have one of those that's signed by like Chris Claremont, Jim Lee, like it's a triple signed. So yeah, I'll give it 3 spices.
Ooh, 3 chilies. The only one that's gotten a 3 chili, by the way.
I don't know.
This
isn't a very good. This grader is pretty messed up. You have a bad grader.
Does this prove that popularity trumps scarcity?
And then time, like, I mean, it took that was $1 book for years and years and years and years, and now it's a $20 book. I don't know how much you paid for it. I probably shouldn't have said that. But
so I think that
okay, it's a $12 book now. But I mean, it used to be $1, right?
Yes.
So that's give it more time, it'll get to 20.
That's a good increase. I think that sometimes with scarcity, though, even if something is complete trash, if there's only a certain amount of them, all it takes is a handful of people with some money and be like, no, I want it. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like
like poolside with those Myrmicornos.
Oh, feels bad, man. Feels bad. I love the memes though. With like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, like you never go full poolside.
Sleeping, we've watched your videos. We know you love Myrmicornos.
I can't say that word.
We'll help you out by the end of this stream. You're going to be able to say it.
You know what's weird is that I struggle with a lot of words, but then something like happens in my brain, then suddenly I can say them, but then suddenly sometimes I can't. Like lenticular, I could not say for the, like if someone's like, I'm gonna give you $1 million if you can say lenticular. So I can't say it again. But somehow I can get it out now. So I'm just gonna keep it riding that until I fail at it.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's it. See, persist until. That's why Sleeping's so successful.
I don't know.
All right, what about this?
I don't know what that is. Obviously,
I don't either. It's just a blank cover X-Men.
I'd have to see. Yeah, obviously it's newer because that's when they started doing that, and they've rebooted the X-Men only like 45 times. So yeah, I don't know which one that is.
Let's give it a 1.
Okay, we're giving it a 1.
All right, I got this one because I'm more like Captain America, and my buddy Jameson's more like Iron Man. So I got him a copy and me a copy, but instead of friendship bracelets, they're comics.
Yeah. Aww. I don't know that comic either. It might be a 1.
Yeah.
Give it a 1.
All right. Okay. This one's Carl's.
So yeah, that's a 4. We're giving that one 4. First, I can't tell if it's a first print or the facsimile from here, but yeah, it definitely looks great.
The facsimile, I wish I could tell you is a first print.
Here's what he really,
I think, yeah.
He wishes this was a first print. This is a facsimile.
Oh, there you go. I have that one too.
There's the secret rare.
Yeah, or the Djurjevic 1 in 25. Yeah, very nice. Only, I mean, the store. I almost bought one of those for like $2K, probably years and years ago, and I was like, $2K. I mean, how high can this thing go? I mean, it was a 9.8.
Oh, nice.
A real one, I mean, and this was years ago, and I was like, I don't know, 2K. Maybe this thing gets to 3K. I don't know. So I passed on it. Now it's like worth 20K or something like that, right?
What do
you can't find. It's difficult to even find some of those now.
Well, that one. So it's a 1 in 25, I believe. The print run is 84,000. So
when you say 1 in 25, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so let me explain that. So what it means is that cover, the store would have to order 25 of the cover A's, the normal ones we were just looking at, to get one of those special covers.
So it's like a 3.2 out of every like 85 or whatever. There's like 3.2 of them. That would be the secret rares, right?
Right, or something like that. Yeah, but the problem is that most stores, they only sell. If they don't sell the book, it just sits there. So they're like, most stores are smaller. So they're like, I'm not even going to bother order 25 of this Ultimate Fallout 4 that hasn't been selling at all. I don't care about your new Spider-Man. So I don't know how many there are. Graded, I bet you, I don't even know. I guess graded, there's 500 of them. I don't even know 1,000 of them graded. But yeah. So in the world, there might be 3,000 of them.
Wow.
4,000. I don't even know. Many. Yeah. Wow. So some of those variants they can get because like I have I think on a couple videos back I showed you a Silver Surfer one that was a 1 in 200. So the question is how many of those even exist, let alone, and then the one I showed was a 9.8. So how many, and then of those, how many are 9.8? See, that's where it starts getting, and I think that one there was only like 25 on the census or something like that. So that's where they start getting really rare. And if you have a significant character in them or something significant happens, then it can really crank up the price. So like Ms. Marvel, that show is coming out in, I think, 3 months or something like that. They just literally oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about, wow. I like that one. Okay. Spice is a 3. We'll give that a 3. So that's Monica Rambeau's first appearance. And yeah, we've seen her in WandaVision. And she could show up in Ms. Marvel in a couple months when that shows up, and she most likely will be in The Marvels, which is Captain Marvel 2, basically.
Yeah.
And most likely will probably be in Secret Invasion. Because Secret Invasion seems like it's going to have a lot of shield and sword and all these other kind of clandestine
Can't
MCU
wait.
type. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I think they'll have Monica Rambeau in that. I think she's a big character, and I think she was well received. So
Yeah.
that's a good book to have.
Cool.
She's super powerful.
I remember when this dropped, I saw it. So we went in the comic book store. Okay. I got some comics. Carl got some comics. I come back, literally, I come back to the office and the announcement for this drop comes on Twitter. And I just saw this up on the dude's shelf. So I had to drive back and got it. Because I'm like, I want to match at least one up. This is the only match that I have with the VeVe comic and what we have. And I got mint number 15,000 from VeVe to match up with this one day. So I don't know.
It's pretty fun to match them though. I have a lot of matches. I'm lucky enough to have. It's just cool.
You'll have to show us some of your cool stuff. All right.
Sure.
How about this one?
Man, that's gonna be that book's gonna be worth a lot of money. I'm assuming it's the first print. It looks like it is from here.
Yep. White.
So I'll give it
white
four
pages.
spices. So 9.8s. I think there's only 250. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Because
This
that book,
it's a 9.6.
I know. So 9.6s, there might be another 250. So I mean, they're talking 500 total. I mean, I could look it up here quick, but
Yeah, collect, right?
that's a pretty awesome book. Good grab there.
Carl grabbed one first. What was that site? That open? It's an open box. That
Short box.
Short box.
Yeah, it's one of
Yeah,
those
the
new
app.
apps. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah,
So you give this a 4?
I'll give it a 4.
Awesome. Well, that concludes the game. Appreciate it. Thank you.
What about
Yeah.
those dad sneakers?
What's that?
Those dad sneakers. I'd rate that a 4 for the memes.
You, yeah, and you know what? You have to rotate. So these, I'm wearing the old ones right now. These are the new ones coming up. So pretty soon I'll start cutting grass in these. I'm already barbecuing. I'm not ready for the grass stains yet, but those would be my third pair. You know what I mean?
Have you seen those memes where it was like a guy was throwing like a cookout, but they were like pretty young and like their dad was like gone and they were hiring a dad for the day to wear New Bounds, wear a shirt that says "Kiss the Cook," and it's like, "Oh, rest up, champ. We got a big day ahead of us tomorrow."
Yeah.
Like that was the whole job for like an hour.
If any of you want to rent out to dad, let me know. I'll do that. I know how to smoke meat and make dad jokes.
Yeah, you're good with kids too.
I'm good with kids. I can watch your. I can keep an eye on your kids out there.
So Sleepy, you kind of hinted that this cross comic books and crypto kind of cross paths of both of your passions that you're really interested in. So what help us understand why comic books? Like, what is it about comic books that causes you to have this strong desire to want to learn about them, invest time into them, collect them, post them up? They got a bunch of them posted behind you right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a hobby. I mean, I do enjoy the stories and reading them, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a hobby, right? And these characters, I've known them forever and ever, and it's this collecting for me, and I always describe it as, these kind of three things. It's kind of initially, it's just nostalgia back to your younger years, or perhaps, if you're watching MCU movies or whatever it might be, and so you're like, I really like that. I'm going to collect or read some of the stories in addition to what I've seen on movies or whatever it might be. And that kind of gets you going down this kind of, deep, dark hole that you can't get out of. And then, so for me, it was constantly, and like, if you watch the movies, I don't know if you guys watch MCU movies, but you're constantly kind of like, oh, that was really cool. Like, what's going to happen next? Like, I wonder what they're going to do with Doctor Strange next. I don't know if you guys saw the latest Spider-Man movie. And so, yeah. And so that's the same as comics. And it happens, depending on if the comic is coming out every month, every week. And so you read and you're like, oh, Venom is now joining the Avengers. This is crazy. Like, why would that happen? Are they going to accept him? And so then you kind of keep going, and it's this kind of never ending story. And a lot of times, just like in the movies, they have these crazy crossover events where big bad guys come, and then you have like all the X-Men and all, and Superman and Venom, everybody fighting the bat, so those types of things happen in the comics. And so that's kind of what sucked me in reading them. And then of course, once from there, you're like, I really, some of these are really expensive. I'm going to purchase these, and they're kind of more investments, but they're really fun to have. Like that one behind me is Incredible Hulk 1. So that's, obviously the first Incredible Hulk comic that came out, I think in 1963, something like that, 62, 63, somewhere in there. And there's just not, and I'm a huge Incredible Hulk fan, and there's only about 1,200 of those left in the world, any grade. So my grade is a 1.8, so really low grade, but it's just cool to have that piece of history, and there's not many left. And so that it's just a combination of everything just kind of like has sucked me in. I don't know if it's a good answer or not, but
yeah, it's a great answer. Thank you.
And it's, I see you have a Sanders jersey up there. I was a huge Barry Sanders fan.
Oh, nice.
So my first team that because I grew up in Minnesota, that I like is the Vikings, but they generally suck. So
yeah,
everybody loved Barry Sanders growing up. So my second favorite team is Detroit. It's still Detroit because of Barry Sanders. Because who didn't like watching Barry Sanders? Because he's insane.
Yeah, all my
favorite player really growing up.
That's awesome. Yeah, all my family's from Detroit. My dad's side of the family, big Italian family. Sure. Then they migrated over to California. So I am a Detroit everything fan. University of Michigan. I got brainwashed pretty good.
You got a Detroit hat on.
I got a Detroit hat on right now. When Sanders retired, I was 10, and I locked myself in my room for 2 days. That was rough.
Yeah,
he was my hero.
You couldn't blame the guy though, man.
No.
I actually thought he was going to do, and everybody talked about it, if you remember, speculated that he was doing it, and then he was going to force a trade. Yeah. And I was kind of like, that's going to be cool because he's going to go to like the 49ers or something like that. But no, the dude actually retired. Like it's a very interesting guy.
Yeah, he called the Lions bluff. That's for sure. I would have liked to have seen him win a Super Bowl somewhere. I think the coolest moment of my sports fandom was being here in California, going to the old Candlestick Park and watching Barry on Monday Night Football tear up the Niners for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in 1996. As a 9-year-old, I was like, that was the best.
And didn't they go to the playoffs like one time or something like that?
They
pathetic.
Well, they went in 91 and lost to Joe Theismann and the Redskins that year by a lot. But that was the NFC. They made it to the NFC Championship game.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
And then then they went to a wild card in like 97 or something like that, and then it wasn't again till like 06, and then 2014 you saw us lose to the Cowboys over that crazy call. That was nuts. But yeah, well, at least they're rebuilding now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
Rebuilding years for like 5 years straight.
Yeah, they've been rebuilding since the Fords bought them in 1957. That's how long they've been rebuilding. So I got a shirt it's a Barstool Sports t-shirt, but it's Martha Ford's face, and it just says "Sell the team" on it. So I wear that sometimes, every once in a while. So Sleepin', what are some determining factors in ranking your comics into tiers? We looked at your website there, and I like it. I like the tier rankings. So can you tell us a little bit about your website and why you put certain tiers the way they are?
So, it's basically just, I had so many people asking me, what about this? What about this? So then I had a spreadsheet actually, which I shared, and that just became cumbersome. So then I kind of reinvented it to that VeVe Rank website. And, I thought I would do a number of things there. I've been pretty busy, but, I do rank all of the comic books there. And really my concept was from the perspective of, what I think the value is going to be really in the end. That's really how I'm ranking it. So if we can project forward, I don't even know, whatever it is, a year, 2 years, because as we know in NFT time, I feel like 3 months is actually like a normal year in the real world. So each 3 months is like a year in the real world. That's what I think, how I think of it anyways. So yeah, that's my thought process. So, MC1 is going to be the most valuable. We think it's going to be, and most likely is going to be the most valuable one. And you just look at, all the top ones, and really what carries it in the comic book world, and we can see that again in the NFT world, although there are some exceptions, is the first appearances. And we see that even in the collectibles too. So the first appearance of, Daredevil is significant. The first appearance of, Ghost Rider is significant. And there's really 3 kind of pieces of it. So there's first appearances, which is the most significant. There is an event, which is significant, but not as significant, but generally not worth as much. And then it's just story. And that's just another comic. And people usually buy them only to complete their run. So let me give you an example. So the Spider-Man book that came out is not as valuable. I can't remember what I ranked it, but the significance of that book is that it's the first time that Peter Parker and Miles Morales meet. So that is a significant event, but it's just an event. It's not a first appearance of anything. So it is going to have some value, but not that much. Another example that I always say in the we don't have this in VeVe, but is spoiler alert, but is Captain America picking up Thor's hammer. So we saw that if you saw the Avengers movie Endgame, you saw him, spoiler alert, pick up the hammer. It was a huge event and everybody loved it. And then that comic went from a $10 comic to a $50, $75 comic, but it didn't go to a $10,000 comic. See what I'm saying? And right now, if I had to guess, it's still probably about a $50 to $75 comic, not a $10 comic, but because it's an event, it's a big event, but it's not a first appearance. The first appearances, at least traditionally, have been the ones that carry the value. So that's how I ranking. Now, the one exception is an event, and that is, and I really struggled with. I did a video on it. Is Amazing Spider-Man 252. And the significance of the event is that you get to see the black suit on Spider-Man for the first time, but it's not that, once again, that's not a $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 book in the real world. But because they had the crazy mint number, only 1,000, I just struggled with it, but I did put it in my highest tier S, because I just felt like it was enough of a significant event. And it is Spider-Man. All things Spider-Man are like, it's like Mickey Mouse. It's a different game. Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney, I've learned, because I'm not really a Disney guy, that's like a different game. Disney is a different game. And so Spider-Man is a different game. And so I thought the black suit, Spider-Man, plus only 1,000 of these in existence. That's the reason why I put it in tier S. And that comic has, to my surprise, been able to hold its value. What I thought is they'd go out and be super expensive, and then through different gem squeezes, people would let it go, but they haven't. And I've talked to a bunch of people that own it, and I've asked them questions, and they value that book. They're like, this is super awesome, super rare. I love Spider-Man. I'm not selling this book. And those are all the emotions that you want to have in a hodler, right? All those things. And it's not to say that they won't sell it, especially for the correct price, but most of those people are not selling it for 500 gems. And so that's why we've seen those. They've been able to hold their value. Now, some of them are extreme, they're selling them for whatever, 9 million gems or something like that.
Yeah. It's a flex.
I don't know if that's going to sell. There'll have to be other factors around it to support that level of a collectible. In other words, a bunch of other ones might need to run up to that to like justify that. But, I don't think you're going to get, like I've been waiting for the ASM 252 common. It's around 3,000 to 4,000 gems. And I was like, oh, in one of these gem squeezes, maybe it will fall. Mm-hmm. Nope. Because I go look at it every day and I'm waiting for it to fall, and it doesn't really dip under 3. I think it's been as high as like 5K or something like that.
Wow. Now, even someone like me that's never in my life really paid attention to comic books, I paid attention to more like cartoons and stuff like that. But it seems like the black suit for Spider-Man almost represents an era in the comic book world. Am I correct with that?
Totally. Yeah. And it's arguable that, and I would argue, but I am a huge Venom fan, that Venom is the most significant character in the modern era in the last 20, 30 years. I'm sure people would debate me on that, but I think it is a significant character. And, once again, I think Marvel knew that, our biggest character here is Spider-Man, and they are able to kind of like split his identity to have more Spider-Man. So we're making even more money. This is the best ever. So
Ben Reilly.
they've been able now but anyways, yeah, Ben Reilly obviously is a clone. So, but and you see them, let's make Miles Morales. They're trying to make as much money off of Spider-Man as possible. But yeah, I think Venom has always been a successful character. And then especially, the past run, which only started, I think 4 years ago. So one of the top writers, or maybe the top writer at Marvel right now, is a guy named Donnie Cates. And really all of in the last 5 years that he's been at Marvel, all the different comics that he's been writing on have been super popular. And so about 4 years ago, they let him write Venom. And he took Venom in a completely different direction. And two really significant events happened in there. Number one, he introduced this big bad guy called Noel, which we'll probably see in the MCU. And another thing is he introduced his son, and then he, in the end, moved the suit, the Venom suit, from Eddie Brock to his son. And so those two significant events happened. And for a long time, I think Venom was one of the top sellers, if not the top seller for Marvel, which generally that's not the case, other ones. And so now he's moved on to Thor and Hulk. And so he's continuing, that particular writer is continuing to really drive sales for Marvel right now.
Cool.
Sleeping with I assume thousands and thousands of stories and comic books and arcs you've read, which one moved you the most? Whether it was when you were a kid, growing into a young adult, which one meant the most to you?
It's a good question. I'll pick Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars, which you have number 8. So the original Secret Wars is 1 through 12. And I want to debate what I'm going to say to you, because I'm pretty sure they're going to do it in MCU. So if I don't want to ruin anybody for anybody watching, whatever. But yeah, so that was a significant one. Really cool, really awesome. And the rumor on the street is that they will be doing that series in the MCU. That will be the equivalent of the Infinity War Endgame movies that we saw a couple of years ago. The Secret Wars will be that equivalent, probably happen, I would guess, in another 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, the Marvel Phase 4 is not going to have an Avengers movie. They'll have a bunch of team-up movies like they did in Thor Ragnarok, Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness, and all that. But Phase 5, they'll start having those again. So.
And once again, Doctor Doom plays a huge role in that. So there's actually been 3 different Secret Wars. And I'm talking about the original one, and the second one is good. And then the third one is also very good.
It's amazing.
Most people actually believe that the Secret Wars that we're going to see in the MCU is going to be based off of the third one. And significant pieces happen in that I won't get into.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So one of the things that's really interesting about comic books is or the VeVe comic books in particular is it's created this like crossover, right? Like it's brought people into the comic book space that maybe haven't been in there before, like both of us, and there's probably many others that are listening right now. And then there's people like yourself that could rattle off and have debates about different tiers of comic books, which is awesome. From your perspective, and I know that there's certain, like you said, like staple and flagship comic books. From your perspective, what would you say are like 3 comic books commons on the VeVe app that you think will never eclipse $10?
Never eclipse $10.
Yeah, like you
probably already have, but I mean, some of those, I don't know some of the lower. I have to pull up VeVe rank, but some of the, just some like I think there was like an X-Men 308. I always pick on that one because I just know it from it's a Thanksgiving one. It's kind of a nothing comic. And honestly, we've had a lot of kind of comics that really don't have any first appearances or significance. So yeah, I think.
What about Spider-Man, the Spider-Woman one today? That was going for like $6.
Yeah, and probably it's tough because they drop generally 30,000 of them total, and then commons there's 21,000.
Yeah.
21,000 in the real world is a really small print run. So it's just possible to find 21,000 people that are like, I want to have every comic on the app, and so it's going to drive the price up. So, $10-15 and $5 for a comic in the real world seems expensive. That's just because I've been collecting comics. I'm like, oh my God, these comics are $5 now. But in VeVe, because of cryptocurrency, and as we know, $5, you literally can't buy anything for $5 on the app.
Yeah.
And if you're talking on the app, like, oh, this thing is, 17 gems, people don't think of that as expensive. It's really on the lower end. So it's possible most of these comics, but yeah, we were getting so many and you can already see it. So what I think is yeah, there's always going to be these ones that are really, really cheap, and they should be. I'm glad that they have that, but I think they will always have value because even the X-Men one, you're going to get people that are X-Men fans and they're just going to want to own all the X-Men comics on the app. Period. You know what I mean? And so are there 21,000 kind of hardcore X-Men people in the world? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what about, let's say in a really exciting VeVe world, things continue to escalate and like some of our more optimistic projections come to fruition. What would you say are a couple of comic books that are never leaving your vault no matter what? Like your staples, like
sure, like Ultimate Fallout 4 Secret Rare. Probably never selling that one because I'm a huge Miles fan. I have a bunch of Secret Rares that I probably wouldn't let go, just because I'm fans of them. Like Darkhawk, I have a Darkhawk SR. Darkhawk's not a big character, but I like that, and I also bought it from Wendy. So I like that. I like that comic. So I guess never say never, and I'm sure, I don't know if my kids are going to be into any of these things, so maybe in the end I'll just have to liquidate everything. I don't know, but probably with these other comics, I have to liquidate them all too. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I think that would be one. I'm a big Daredevil fan too, so maybe my Daredevil SR I'd probably keep. I do like Ghost Rider, so I have an SR of that one too. I think I have about 18 SRs now, not including duplicates. So that's a pretty good. Not as crazy as some, but not insignificant.
Sure.
Great.
Wow. So what's your strategy moving forward, Sleepin'? I mean, you obviously you have, you've got secret rares, you've got commons. Now we're getting into the discussions the last couple of days on Twitter Spaces. I'm on Twitter Spaces a lot during the day. Like people are like, what kind of music do you listen to? I'm like, I don't listen to music. Like, I was always like an AM radio guy. I was always a talk show, like sports. I'd always call into ESPN radio and like, be debating and stuff. So I was never like a music guy. And then I kind of transitioned from that into like podcasts for whatever my ADHD hyperfixation is on at the current moment. And now it's VeVe. And these VeVe spaces like take over. I just have it in the background all the time. And sometimes I'll come up and talk. And that's when I heard you on a couple weeks ago, Sleeping. So I DM'd you from there. But I know the last couple of days, the discussion has been, how do we rank these comic books? Are we doing it off of Mint? What's the strategy moving forward? And I think it's important to talk about because, and Randy, I want to get your side of this too as well, is Comics and Crypto came out with their grading system, but they came back today, they held a spaces and they wanted to make sure everyone knew like it's not really a grading system. It just helps you figure out within a certain rarity where your mint number is at within that rarity. They're not trying to say a secret rare Miles Morales is a 0.5 grade compared to CGC in real life. So anyway, what's your strategy moving forward, and how are you personally looking at the rankings of these comic books moving forward?
Let me I'll answer that one first, unless Randy wants to go first. Randy,
No.
So you know, and I've thought a lot about, I did a video on it, and obviously I've talked to a number of people about it. And really, I don't even want to use the word ranking or value system. It's just a label. And in my mind, any type of labeling system that we have should assist people beyond what they can visually see right away. So in other words, I can see Ultimate Fallout 4, I can see the mint number on it, and I can see the rarity. Those are right there. So can we label it in such a way that will help us quickly, super fast, learn other information? So in other words, let's just pretend we could know how many times that thing had been traded, because that could degrade it, so it wouldn't be worth as much. Let's just say we could figure out and automatically know that percent, where it lies in the percentage. So that's a lot what comics and crypto are thinking about. So let's just say, you know, in the case of ASM 252, there's only 1,000 of them. So when you have, you know, number 501, normally if you say I have mint 501, people are pretty impressed by that, the 3-digit, right? But no, in that one, you're actually in the top 50%. So if you could kind of bundle all these things together and give them a label so people could quickly see that this is whatever, a purple, it's a purple one or a green one, or, you know, and we'd have, you know, we people know that a purple is this and green is this, whatever. That's where I think it's more valuable, because it's giving you, and it's the type of information that if you wanted to go look it all up, you could do, but it's valuable that somebody already did it for you.
Right.
So in other words, yeah, a Mutascan and some, you can go in there and dig around, and like you can pull out the token, and you can actually, and I've done it on some of mine, you can actually see on my collectibles, I can go into Mutascan on IMX and look at all the different, you know, like I was looking at this one comic that had been traded, you know, 7 times. Interesting. Great. You know what I mean? But if you had all that information and pushed it all into a label, I think a grade or whatever you want to call it, I think that would be useful for people. But I, you know, on the other hand, the other thing which people get really uptight about, which they should, I get it, is then that there's a value to that. But it's actually, they're actually independent, right? Because you can have a 9.8 of a trash book. It's just really, really worthless. Or a 9. You see what I'm saying? It's,
yep.
The grading and labeling system is and should be what it is, independent of value. And then value comes in, right? Because then you could apply, you should be able to, you know, go to some website like a Call Me Wiki or whatever it is, and be like, 99% of the time, the purple ones, I'm just making it, let's just pretend purple's the best one, right? The purple labels are 4 times the floor. See what I'm saying? Whereas let's just say the lowest one is a gray label. The gray labels are the floor. The floor is the floor. And I only use colors because I think, especially in listening today, like because people saw, oh, it's a 1.5, and then they went to CGC and they read the description on a 1.5 that it's like in terrible shape. And so they get, you know, really, and I get it. Like no one, I don't want people to tell me my comic is, you know, a piece of toilet paper or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's why and we can, I think it's going to work. They have started us down this road, which is great. And we're going to all walk together. I prefer to walk together rather than battling it out between each other, right? And we'll walk down this road together, finding different things. And in the end, yeah, hopefully we will have something. But the key is it helping people beyond what they can just visually see, because it's doing math and all these other things that normally other people couldn't. And that then provides value when they're going to buy or sell, because that's the key is it'll help me sell it, because I can say to people, this is a purple label. And then people automatically know, okay, whoa, that means it probably doesn't have very many transactions on the blockchain. It's low mint. It's this combination of all these 10 different things.
Sure. And,
you know, I don't think they'll ever put it in the app, and I don't think all this other nonsense, but that's my kind of take on it. And I think it's just weird. We're just learning on top of, we don't actually have a lot of this data. Like It's not on the blockchain. You can go on IMAX and dig around like I have. It's not there. So, but, you know, fast forward a year, etc. That's my thoughts on it.
Okay. Randy?
What he said. No, they have this. Yeah, I think in their spaces, or it might have been in a tweet, forget in which way I absorbed it, that this is kind of like their first hack, their first iteration at it, being able to go. And that's what you need. I mean, most things, unless you're in like, rocket ship business, there's going to be some bugs. There's going to be some things to update. I do think what they did is a net positive, just to get the conversation started, gets the ball rolling. And, let's say in the next, I don't know, like year or so.
Didn't like most of Elon's rockets blow up in the beginning too?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you can't get, and this stuff is complicated.
Sure.
Yeah. He had the first 3 of them blew up. And if that 4th one hadn't launched, SpaceX would not be around. There'd be no Starlink. Ukraine would not have internet. But they would have, like I said, it gets the conversation started. And even if they go in like a year from now and they have like version 2 or 3.0, and then suddenly, we have like 15 million people on the app, and Omi's at like 20 cents, and suddenly they're rich. Like, you know what? We don't really need to do this. It's not worth it. Somebody else can take what they did, and they could at least move the ball forward and carry that torch. And if people don't like it, I mean, I like them. I'm friends with them. I was one of their podcasts like a week or 2 ago. But with 2.5 million people on the app, Comics and Crypto has about 10,000 followers on Twitter, and that is less than 0.5% of the active accounts on the app. So, I mean, a lot of people are getting like salty at this, but if they choose to ignore it, like most other people don't know about it yet. Now, could this get further adopted? Yeah, absolutely. Other people can go, like Sleepin said, just so they can do math, save some time. But for the most part, if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. You just ignore it.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of stuff like, oh, you're doing this because blank, blank, and blank, like personal attacks. Now, I've spoken with Sean over at Comics and Crypto multiple times. I've never had anything but positive experiences. I think everyone that knows him or knows Comics and Crypto, Spencer over there, like they know, their intentions are well-meaning for sure.
Yeah,
and I think if there wasn't such a dip in the market right now and people weren't so pissed off already, then there wouldn't be as much of the negative talk like, oh, you're only doing this to pump your own bags and you must only have low mints and all this stuff. I'm just like, nah, I don't think so. However, I don't know what everyone's so up in arms about. It's just math. Like you just look at it, it's just within, okay, it just helps you within a certain rarity. You figure out, okay, I'm in this percentile of mints within, like, that's it. It doesn't mean your comic's a piece of crap, but they did say today in Spaces, maybe we presented that the wrong way. We didn't want people to get that impression, so they're gonna go fix it now. But what I did want to bring up is this: the Goch, and when I want to know this, if you guys have an opinion on this or if you know, but when these comics started getting minted on the Go chain, and what was his name? Dan was talking about, okay, he got asked a question in the AMA. While they're getting minted, do those numbers match up? Is the 41 the first one that gets minted? He said yes. But now that we've gone to immutable, it's random. So, and we will get that information, as I understand it. We will get that information later as far as what's getting minted, what's actually minted, and what the rarity is, or the mint number is, the random mint number. So it's brought up in Spaces today. I could have mint number 29,000 and that be the very first one. Where's that cutoff of when that started happening? What comics started getting onto immutable? And should people be worried about spending a premium for their low mints?
I think, go ahead, Randy, and then I have some thoughts on it.
Okay. Yeah. No, for me, it's just how many people will care to even look at the metadata to see what is going to be minted for where. And, if they're going to be able to put out mint numbers in the vault at some point in your showroom. So if you're able to go and look at that, that's not going to, most likely it's not going to look at the metadata. Will there be some crazy person that's going to look at 30, just one comic book, 30,000 numbers and match up the numbers? Maybe there's going to be one crazy person or like crazy family that'll do that, and they'll do that for each one. And Can they go and sell that? Can they go and do it? Sure, maybe, but I don't think too many people are going to be like, oh, this one, it might be number 207, but it's actually on the metadata is 29,000. I think the free market will speak for itself. More people will not care than the ones that will. So that's just my opinion on it. I'm done. That's all you.
Oh, I think it's a mistake. I think they've messed up. It's difficult always to say that they've made a mistake, but I think they have, because the mint number implies, well, like, name it something else, name it serial number, but the mint number implies like these were consecutively minted. And I think they were on the Go chain. And now, as you see in IMX, they're not. I can't remember which was the first one on IMX. I think it was Avengers 57, first appearance of Vision, but don't quote me on that. I've noticed a couple things, and I've dug around a bunch in there on IMX and whatnot. And the first thing I think that's interesting is that, and I've said this to people, is that the algorithm that they're using seems to have the secret rares printed earlier than they used to. In other words, if you had a print run of 30,000, the first secret rare could be like 500, and the next one could be like 700. You could maybe have, of the 600 secret rares, you could maybe have, 20 of them under 1,000. Now you'll see on IMX, you'll see secret rares like 205, 206, 209, 211, see what I mean? So it seems like they're giving preference to some of the rarities to have the lower mint numbers. That's what I think. And I've seen it multiple times. Could be wrong, but that's what I've seen. Just because I'm a guy who's been, collecting his mint numbers on my website and whatnot. So that's one interesting thing. And I do think that people, because it's just so simple, once they have this metadata, and you don't even need it, you could go dink around, because I've been able to dink around and pull out different tokens, IDs, and off of your wallet and other things, and figure out which token is which comic, and then you can look up the mint number, and you can just stitch it all together. It's painful right now, but I do think someone is going to do it. I do think there'll be an uproar, and so they could change it. Like, it might even, here's what's interesting is I was wondering if it's going to change with the new drop system, because you know how we all go into a pool and then they draw, and then so they might get it back to where they're minting them in order again. So once again, we don't know, right? And so then they'll just be this, 3 months or 4 months where they were kind of mismatched. Then what's weird is now maybe those comics become more valuable because they're all kind of mismatched. You know how things work like that. Like, it's goofy, right? It's different than what you think. But I do believe that at some point in time, because these are super smart guys. These are not, now they are going to have, because they're not idiots, they're going to have the mint numbers match the order of the minting. It's not that hard, and they're going to do it. What I do think is there's, whatever, I'll make it up, 100 developers, and they're just getting crushed at this company. Do this, do that, code this, stop coding this and code this over here. And we got a bug, and now you got to beat down the bots. Stop beating down the bots and get the new drop system. No, don't do the drop system. I can't even imagine. They probably sleep, 2 hours a night, and they want to jump out the window. So, and I know they're hiring more people and whatever, but that's my take on it.
That makes sense. Could be an asterisk with those 3 months, like the steroid era in baseball.
It's a steroid era of baseball.
Makes sense.
So, you have, both of you have this wealth of information. People love hearing your guys' ideas and wisdom, because you have genuine perspective, right? It's not an echo chamber. You're not necessarily just followers and bouncing your ideas off of what other people say. Like, you guys are not afraid to share authentic thoughts. So one of the things that can be really valuable and helpful for a variety of people is like your sources of information. So this is a question for both of you, but like, especially with the internet, right? I mean, whatever I want to find, I can go on the internet and find, and, you can search whatever it is and find it. Where do you guys source information? Where do you like to go to learn and to kind of level up, if you will?
I guess it depends on the subject. If you're looking for sales data, you just have to pay attention to the app and go and say, okay, what was this going for yesterday? What's going for now? Everything. You can get the whole Pixar set for like less than 600 gems. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So one of the things that I learned by having those two Disney peeps on is that there's an average of, I think, about 38 now because of the pandemic, there's about 38,000 people in the parks on average each day, where before the pandemic, it was well over 50. And there is no marketing for it in the parks. There's several 100,000 people in the collectors things on Facebook, and none of them are talking about VeVe. None of them know what it is. You search VeVe in like any of the collectors Facebook groups, and nobody's made a post. So there is going to be a pretty big shift, even if only 5% of all Disney fanatics that buy up everything, like the same way in which Sleepin was going over before, saying like people are crazy about Spider-Man, is his own different world. People are crazy about Disney, whether it's like Lilo and Stitch, whether it's any of the gold moments that we get, like Timon and Pumbaa, Lion King. A lot of these are. I would go to other people that would know more, like for Disney or for Voltron. I had this guy Tom McDonough on. That's why I try to have a lot of people on.
So it sounds to me like you learn from people that you interview. You like strategically try to soak up information. There's no real online sources that you go to consistently. You're not any.
I mean, Twitter. If there's something that you can kind of piece together, like so Comey's deleted these tweets now, but back in October of 2021, remember when they were about to release Edo. Everyone's like, when Ido, EDO, and on their Instagram they posted an N. And I was like, okay, so an N. A lot of people that meant like Nintendo. Before it spelled out when, but they said N. So I was like, okay, well, what is I think E? Okay, sorry, one second. So N was like I looked at the elements of the periodic table, I think for nitrogen, and it happened to be like 1021. One was the atomic number, one was the atomic mass. It's like, okay, so 1021, October of 2021 is probably when it's going to be announcing Nintendo. And I looked back on all of the tweets that they had come out with in 2018. It's like, oh, Pokemon's not on the blockchain yet, but the person responsible for bringing Pokemon to America is head of licensing at Comey, and they made these like series of tweets. So, follow data, follow money. That's just trying to put things together. And sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm not right. Like I remember when Hitmonkey was out, where they announced Hitmonkey, and that's one of the comics that I love. And like the show was coming out, I was like, listen, they might have this at the MCU. He's fought, with Spider-Man and Deadpool, and he's fought with like Wolverine, and he was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like this, and then that comic just it went up crazy like at first because of the rarity, and then it just bombed. It's at like 2K right now, and there's only like
a whole 4-hour stream on Hitmonkey. That was like one of the first streams I ever watched. You do, and I was like, oh, Hitmonkey's gonna be awesome.
So yeah, so if sometimes I'm wrong, and I'm wildly wrong on that one, but a lot of other times I think I'm pretty correct on things. But it's just watching interviews of people, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was pretty wrong about a TikTok that I made recently on the price predictions of these Pixar, these new Pixar. I was in the thousands with all of them. I had Edna at like 3.8K. I had to make a follow up with Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey going, I was way off the Samsonite clip. Yeah, I dubbed that one at the end of that.
So Sleepy, what about you? Where do you like to gather your information from?
Well, from a comic perspective, a lot of it I actually know, but there's websites like Go Collect, Key Collector, and there's others obviously that you want to use to do pricing information. And so that's why I literally added them all to VeVe Rank. So when you go to look at I actually did that all for myself because people kept on asking me. Then I had to go look it up at eBay. Then I had to go look it up at Go Collect. So I was like, I'm just going to make it on my own website so I can go there. And then there's all the links like right there. As you know, when you go to each of the comics, there's a link to eBay that will automatically do the search for you. It'll take you right to the Go Collect, or it'll go to the Key Collector app, which will tell you additional information about the comic. And so that's why I literally put those links there. And I'm sure there's probably others that I've missed, but those are kind of my go-tos whenever I'm going to do initial analysis in terms of, because you want to kind of get a feel for the pricing. But then also, I just am in, I follow like a ton of people in the comic book world. I watch a lot of YouTube comic book influencers and then Twitter. And so I generally have a good feel for what's coming in terms of both, the shows and the movies, but also kind of like the speculation underneath. And then there's a couple shows that they bring on like insiders that you don't know if they're real or not, but they don't show their face, and they're like, I talked to some guy at Marvel and he says that Spider-Man is there's gonna be 3 Spider-Men in the next Spider-Man movie, and then everybody laughs at him and he's like, no, really, I saw it on a script. But I guess that guy was right. but yeah, so those that's generally, and it's easy for me because, and this is kind of why before VeVe, I did a lot of speculation in comics. I really love that. So in other words, I'm like, this Monica Rambeau person might end up being somebody. So I had bought a lot of the Monica Rambeau and a lot of the ones where she becomes Spectrum. I have a ton of those comics and I bought them for like $5. So then I sell them on eBay. Now, once again, I'm making, I bought them for $5. I sell them for $35. That's kind of the game of comics. If you get them graded, maybe you can sell them for $150, right? So, I've had a couple home runs where maybe I, get one and then I can sell for $1,000, but that is really rare. And so, but I just find that fun. And I was using that to pay for the hobby, right? Because normally when I go buy my comics for a month, it's about 50, maybe $60. So I was like, hey, if I could, sell some stuff and make $60 a month, then and that's a term that people say a lot in comics is have the hobby fund itself. And so I have been able to do that. Now, anytime you go buy a super expensive book for like $2,000, well, that kind of blows but I just thought if I could, make enough in just selling comics and through speculation, because I just kind of enjoy it all. That's kind of my thought process. And then I've just carried that into VeVe because it's the same thing. It's like, so for example, one of the ones I'm big on is the Ghost Spider collectible in the mini Marvel. And it's really low right now. I think it's like $50 or 50 gems.
I watched your video. I just picked one up.
Yeah, and it's just because I think she's going to be a huge character. She's coming in into the Spider-Verse. There's super big rumors that she's been cast in Madam Web, the new Spider-Man, and she's the woman. I don't really know her, but she's not the biggest well-known actress, but she's supposed to be great. So I mean. And I think that she's a strong enough character in the books that I've read with her that she could be her own franchise. You know how like Black Widow had her own show? Like Ghost Spider, Spider-Gwen could be that level of character. And Marvel knows that too. So I'm like, at 50 gems, I'm going to take or I think it's like 55 gems for her Mighty Marvel right now. So I bought a bunch of those. So that's kind of the same level type of speculation that I'm used to. So the sources that I was using for comics is a lot of the same sources that I use for VeVe.
Who's your favorite influencer in the comic book space?
Ooh, that's tough. There's a lot of them that I like.
Who was the first person that came to mind when I asked you that question?
I like Reggie Collects a lot. Comic Tom is big. I like watching. There's about 5 or 6 channels that are just like, there's the largest comic channels. Lords of the Long Box is a really good one. That's the one where they have the guy on and you can't see him, and he's like I'm from whatever, they call it the Illuminati. Like I know, what the books that are coming before the book, and half of it's entertainment. And the guy who runs that one, they're all super entertaining guys, and they're fun, and they, everybody's all like, Sleepin, so much about comics, and really in the comic book world, I am like, I would get like in your spicy thing, I would get maybe 2 spices, whatever. A lot of these guys, they know so much. It's just insane, And so, they'll know just mind-boggling stuff about comics. So, and for me, it's never been a competition. It's just, where you're at and you're enjoying it. If you're having fun, I don't think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. I like something you said, which was, you have your own speculation based on the narrative of what's happening in these books, and you develop your own speculation, and you're buying your own shares of your own ideas off of that. And I really love that. I can equate that to, I play fantasy football. And that's why I love your tier ranking system so much, is because when I'm drafting players in fantasy football, I don't go by who says, what rank they could be, one above or whatever. They never finish out that way at the end of the season anyways, but I'll look for value within those tier rankings. And so what I'm doing with your system here on VeVeRank.com is I'll look at the tier rankings and say, okay, which out of those are most valued or undervalued on the app price wise that I can swoop up off the floor and go from there. So I really like that. And I like the fact that you can basically profit off of your own speculation, and also try and figure out, okay, what's undervalued here. I keep checking the market. Like, for me, I'm obsessed. I don't know why, but with Dr. Doom, like I'm all in on Dr. Doom.
It's great.
And Fantastic Four #5. And I've told Randy this before. Like when I first started texting him, like in December, I'm like, bro, I'm all in on Fantastic Four #5. I want 1% of the commons. I want 20. I want 210 commons. I'm up to 51 right now, but I'm looking.
I thought you were the guy. Did you hear that one guy who said that I thought you're not the guy who like made a mistake in House of X and then moved to Fantastic Four. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, tell us.
So there's this guy who was talking, whatever, I can't remember. I get it all confused, but yesterday, and he's like, yeah, I learned a lot because I went all in on House of X because I thought it was the first X-Men. Like he didn't know there's no first appearances. So he said he bought like 500 of them or something like that, something crazy.
So
and then
there's the guy Powers of X who I don't know, I forget his name, but he paid. This actually has to be taken off. He hasn't renewed. But his Powers of X, he put in like 200. He has like 200 of the mints of the commons. I think for that reason also. I don't know how Powers of X is.
So this guy sold them all. He got out of it and some of it for a loss, he said. And then so he did all this crazy research, he said, and actually he told me that one of the things he researched was from my website. And then he, like you, went all in on Fantastic Four 5. And he said he bought 200 Fantastic Four #5 uncommons.
Uncommons, okay.
Yeah, he said he would go in there, and I think they were like at 50. He'd buy them all the way to 100 and then go to bed. And then when he'd see more, buy them all the way to 100. And I think at one point he said he bought them all the way up to 150. Because I remember when it went up to 150, and I was like, who's buying all these things? Well, apparently it was this guy. And now he owns, I think he said like 200 or something like that, uncommon Fantastic Four #5s.
So how many of the uncommon were there for that mint?
5,000.
Or for that rarity, there's 5,000?
Yeah.
So 500 would be 10%. And if he has 200, wow. So he's got 4%.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And at one point they were worth a ton. I mean, I think they were worth like 200 or something like that.
The commons got up to like 220. I remember.
Okay, so the uncommons were probably like
right around there. Yeah.
Oh, that'll go back up. I mean, so Sleepin, when do you think? I mean, probably not until there's marketing. I mean, that's why a lot of Disney people aren't here yet. But how long until you think comic book people recognize this and just be like, oh my God, this is insane? And even now, like when you have a Fantastic Four #1, it's at like $12,000. How many people do you think the ratio of people that would come in and be like, this is cheap?
So, I started in October, and not that I know that many comic book people, but almost all of them know what it is that I talk to now. Like before, they were like, I don't know even what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. Most of them know that there's NFT comics now, and most of them know that there's this VeVe platform that they can download to their phone. So they just resist. They're just like, and a lot of it's because it's just they're spending $50 to $100 a week on comics. That's 10 comics. That's very common for a comic book collector to go to the store and buy 10 comics. And so they're just like, I have no more money to go into this speculative thing, even if I believed it. And all of them are. Very rarely do I ever have someone that's rude to me and like, you're an idiot. No, they're all like, that's cool. That's your thing. I like that. They're very, and a lot of them even say, I'd like to get into that, but I have no money. I have no time. Yeah. I'm a comic book guy. I'm collecting over here. So, and I don't ever try to convince anybody. I don't feel like that ever is useful to try to like, this is the greatest thing ever. I never do that. I'm just like, if you have any questions, like, DM me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some people do. Some people be like, hey, I finally have some time. I'm interested in this. And then I've walked them through it. But I don't know. I actually think it's just time. It's so, how, and I just think about times in my life when your mind moves. You hear an idea. Here, honestly, I have 3 kids. And a lot of times, like, things that my kids do or want to do, I'm like, okay, that's not happening. But then your mind somehow moves. Here's a perfect example. My son is with his girlfriend. Their family invited him to go. He's 16, so he's not that old a guy, but he has this, pretty serious girlfriend, and their family invited him to go with them to Arizona for spring break. Nice. So my initial thought was like, oh, hell no. But there's really, but he we know her family. We know her. She's a reasonable person. My son's a reasonable guy. And so my mind, like, over time, and so now we're letting him go. You know what I mean? It's fine. And I think he'll have a good time, and there's nothing, it'll be okay. I think, cross fingers. Right. But that's my only example I can think of off my top of my head where my mind moves. You move. And I think that comic book people, their mind will move. They just have to get through it. And eventually, just like us, it will be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So I was able to move quickly because I think of my blockchain Bitcoin experience. That's why I was able to move quickly, I think.
Because of your experience, you think these comic book people that are resisting right now, it's like Bitcoin in 2014, like, it's whatever. And then
and plus they're busy. They don't have any time, they probably have kids, whatever, right? They don't, it's another thing that they don't have time to research, and they don't want to throw their money away. These are smart guys, you know what I mean? And they're just like, don't have time for that. So what sucked me in initially was the investment opportunity. You can go watch some of my initial videos on it. It wasn't like, oh, this is going to be the best thing ever. I'm selling all my stuff and I'm going NFTs hard. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck that. I'm going to buy these stupid little digital things and hopefully I'll make some money. The investment aspect of it, just like Bitcoin, like I wasn't buying Bitcoin because I thought it was cool. Like, no, it was an investment opportunity, right? But now over time, because you can see how it's all changed if you're a collector, at least for me in the VeVe world, because these are all these different IPs that we love. Who doesn't want to see C-3PO and, R2-D2, right? If you're a Star Wars person, if they drop Darth Vader tomorrow and he's colored and he's got like a cool red lightsaber and it like ignites in the secret rare and it ignites and it's like all crazy, people, you're not going to say you don't want to buy that thing.
Tell him, Joe.
I can't. I would do lots of things for that Darth Vader.
You're mortgaging your house. What's I'm just saying that it's cool, right?
Yeah. It's interesting because you're looking at like you know Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever when you're first getting into crypto and looking at all these altcoins and stuff, and you're trying to wrap your mind around values of digital currency, and you buy it. Okay, maybe your hands aren't very strong at first, especially if you're scared and whatnot. But then you come into digital collectibles and comic books, and there is an emotional attachment. I've never had an emotional attachment to Bitcoin or Ethereum, right, but I'm not letting go of my Todd anytime soon.
Right.
It's different.
And that's where, and I've said this before, it's the 3 things. It's the, investment opportunity. It's the, whoa, this is really cool. I'm a huge Batman fan, and I now own F.A. Todd, which is the first Batman. And then there's the last thing, which we have not yet experienced yet, is how do you do something with that collectible that is memorable in your life? So I'll just make it up. Like I go to Disney World with my son and daughter, and we put the tot up there. We take a family picture. Like that will be memorable. See what I'm saying? So once you have those 3 things, what are the chances of me selling that thing? 0.
Man, made me think of my partner's statue. We're going to Disneyland at the end of the month.
Yeah.
It's our first time with the kids. They're 2 and 4. I'm definitely taking a picture with my Walt in front of the Walt Disney statue, and now I don't want to sell it.
I mean, and it's once again, you're remembering it with your family, and if they do the VeVeverse thing, and you're, and once again, I go back to my World of Warcraft days. Sorry to sound like such a geek, but you meet people in World of Warcraft, and you go on these raids and do all the other crazy stuff and whatever, and you make friends with these people, and you have experiences, and so then you're like, if you were to actually do that with some of your collectibles, you'd be like, no, I met a bunch of cool people, and we did this thing, and we got this. Maybe all of us had to do this thing together to get a blue Walt. You know what I mean? You're like, man, I really don't want to sell that blue Walt. I had to do all that work. I had to see what I'm saying. This is where it goes to the next level, and then people really don't want to sell.
Yeah,
Leroy Jenkins.
I wonder if when people can buy these comics and collectibles with crypto, if that could also be a catalyst, Randy, for mass adoption, right? Like most of the world are followers. Most of the world need people to lead others. And there's a lot of whales, crypto whales that are sitting on the sidelines, or at least a few of them that probably could move the needle significantly, not only with what they do, but the ripple effect of all the people they know, and so on and so forth. So I wonder if and when that happens, if that could be a potential catalyst for, a comic book explosion, if you will. Yeah.
So MTL and Omi to NFT, it will be like, I don't know if you remember Dark Knight Rises, the 3rd one in the Nolan Batman franchise, where they were waiting to like blow up a wall so that they could go and like 3,000 cops can go and fight these Bane's minions or whatever. It's going to be like that. It's going to be, or like a wrestler that's waiting to get tagged in, like tag me in, and they're all fresh and ready to go. Just by myself, I do have a decent amount in the app, enough to have that $50,000 staking tier. But we have Omi to NFT, and I do expect the NFTs to go up before Omi. But in the off chance that they don't, let's say Omi goes up first, we get on a couple of exchanges, and Omi goes up to, let's say, even 1 penny, and suddenly I have, over $1 million in Omi. I don't think I have enough self-control to not sweep up everything on the market, especially if Pokemon comes out. I actually hope that Pokemon doesn't come out until next year, until I've already taken some profit with Omi, because that will probably make me broke. I
mean, there, I talk to comic people. There's all these people that are like, they're not fooling around. They'll ask me about a comic, and then I'm always like, yeah, I would, look at the comment. It's around, $16. I would take buy a couple. And they're like, yeah, I'm thinking about buying 1,000. You know what I mean? And these people are, I know a guy who has 1,000 Marvel Comic 1 commons.
Wow. Yeah.
I think he bought them low, but he just keeps buying. He just keeps buying. He does not care. I think they got to like 700. Guy buys. He's buying.
Sorry.
And so, I'm just saying, there's some people that have a lot of money, and now everything has dipped low. They're obvious, but if you were to get the right person to come, even 1 or 2 of these people to come in, they are gonna crush it.
Yeah, I am sperm of the sperm whale. Like I was talking to some dude, can't say who it was, a YouTuber, but he's not a VeVe YouTuber. Like no one would ever guess like who he is or what he is, but millions of subscribers and has 180 million Omi. He's like, hey, how long do you think we're gonna be down here for? I don't know. Like, if they're coming out with a pre-recorded video next week, and it could be good. Could be saying like, hey, we have X, Y, and Z happening. I think Bekatish from Epico Regal had tweeted today, or I guess now it's yesterday, but on Thursday, March 17th, that they're going to have an announcement in the middle of April, some type of partnership with the Comey. Nobody knows what yet. But they could have they could have something really great come out next week, or they could say, hey, Bitmart was the last exchange we're going to have until X, Y, and Z, and we can get cut in half again. So I told them I don't know. But yeah, there's going to be people that are going to dwarf people like me and that other YouTuber that have, I'm in a whale group that has, I have the third least amount of OMI, where most everyone has hundreds of millions and a couple people have billion plus. They could just go in like it's not even anything, sweep up. And they could go,
not to put you guys on the spot, but do you two guys own OMI?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
because I think there's most people don't. Like most people I talk to do not. So there's of these 2 million users, or whatever, and maybe some of them are bots, or I don't know, whatever. A lot of people. I think most of them don't own OMI. And it's probably because it's too difficult. You got to do the thing. And I've tried to talk friends of mine, got to think. It's not that hard when you know what you're doing, but when you're trying to talk to them, you got to go to the Bit4x. I bought mine through Bit4x, and blah, 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 blah. It's just too much for these people, and they get nervous and, whatever. And of course, they'll say like, okay, I'll put in $200. And I'm not saying that's good. That's a lot of money, but it's just too much for them to put in $2,000, let alone $20,000. And that's what you want, right? We want people to come in and say, I've looked at this. This makes sense to me. I'm going to put in 5K, because if you have a bunch of those people, and that's why these exchanges, I think it's just one. I used to use my old company. I always say it's 1 + 1 + 1. We don't have to do all these things, but eventually it ends up being a big number. So if we can just do all these little things, get them, a little bit more marketing, a little bit more mature app, a little bit more, a couple more exchanges. It doesn't, of course, we want Coinbase. Of course, we want Binance, but a couple more of these exchanges, a little bit easier. I think it will all add up.
And you notice what's also interesting, and Joe and I talk about this, is the indirect supply squeeze that's taking place. And I think that's happening with Bitcoin along with some of these NFTs. And I think that there's some serious FOMO that can take place when Bitcoin goes to 100,000 and people go, oh shit, I better get in now before it's too late. And I think that there's going to be some significant people going for the Bitcoin, which is going to obviously push the price up. Also true with the comics and or collectibles, right? Is it the Avengers #8 that's going to be the catalyst? Is it going to be something in the Powder Puff section, right? Where you realize and you go, oh my goodness, look, I was thinking about this, and now there's none left on the app anymore.
My example is Rizzo. I've been, I have a Todd, I have a Superman, and I'm like, I'm going to get a Rizzo. Now it's gone. And when it was at 19K, I think it's come back, isn't it? Like at 10K. It's pretty spendy. Yeah. But I remember when it got to 19, 15, 19, 20, I don't even know. I was just like, that's gone.
I stole one
exactly
of mine.
What you're talking about. And I could feel the FOMO. I was like, maybe I should just dump some money in and grab it, because I'm scared it's going to go to 50K. It's a weird emotional thing that's going on.
Yeah. And some of these people, there's enough, even with the crazy wild stuff that's going on in the world, there's enough hodlers and there's enough big hands that can swoop up a lot of these, and stuff could disappear off of the app for quite some time.
Yeah, I think all those, Rizzo's, some of those, and you can already see it, right? The Harley Quinn, the Pew Harley Quinn.
The 500, 500.
Yeah. Those are going bye-bye.
That's this guy right here. This one,
yeah. Oh yeah. I just thought, yeah. So that's exciting to see, and I'm glad we are early, I think, and I think it's going to happen. It's tough, but Walt, look at Walt. Walt's what, 4,500, 4,800, 4,300,
4333.
Yeah. So all those threes, right? But it's Walt. It happened to Walt. I thought it's 4,333. That wouldn't go as fast as it did, but yeah, it did. The FOMO hit hard, and that thing just exploded.
Yeah, and actually, when you take a look at that, there's actually less than 4,000 because Dr. Profit has 350, I believe.
Yeah, and if you watch that particular collectible over the last 2 months, it's gone from like around 200 to 220 on market. And I know people can sell them and put them on when they want, but it's in the 140 range right now, and the price is still in the low 20s, right? Something funky's going on there.
Some secret shoppers, guys. There's secret shoppers out there, and they're all in these big whale groups, right? And they go, okay, now you buy one. We don't want to start a run. Don't buy another one just yet. Let's wait for some to keep coming, right? Did you guys agree that happens?
Oh, yeah, positive. I mean, I also think there are a lot of trolls on the internet, and most notably 4chan. I remember they've done this. They might not necessarily have a lot of money, but they have a lot of people, and maybe they could do this with either a Murmurcorno, or they could do this with an LOL doll that we haven't gotten yet. But there's been these groups on 4chan that'll say, let's take over this poll. Let's get the whole 4chan army to have Taylor Swift perform at a school for the deaf. Or let's get them to go on Mountain Dew's official website to name their next flavor. Hitler did nothing wrong, and have them cancel the whole flavor contest. They're going to go and be like, hey, let's take this one Murmurcorno, let's take this one unicorn or whatever, and they're going to go and buy them, and they're going to burn them just so nobody else can get them. I thought this would happen with Star Trek, where Star Wars people would go and buy all the Star Trek stuff so that Star Trek people couldn't get them. It didn't happen. But
that's so funny to me.
Because I don't know if you ever watched the movie Fanboys, where they're a bunch of younger guys. They're like in their 20s. One of their friends has like cancer, so takes place in '98. It's filmed like 12 years ago, but it takes place in '98, and they have to break into like Skywalker Ranch to try to see Phantom Menace before it comes out, so their friend can see it. But they go and make fun of these like Star Trek people like on their way there, and Seth Rogen is like the head Trekkie, and in their van they run over a statue of Khan, and Seth Rogen's just like, they takes out his hair like, and it's like, oh, this is exactly what might happen on the VeVe app. Those people are just gonna burn all the Star Trek stuff so nobody has it.
Oh man, that made my night. That's funny.
I'm glad.
What do you have to say to someone in the comments section? Sounds like more like manipulation than FOMO.
I mean, it depends. I would have if they're not going to sell them, I think it's fine. But if it's, I mean, this happens in Bitcoin, this happens in OMI, this happens in stock markets.
Yeah.
So of course it's going to happen here. There's nothing. I think the OMI market cap is less than $1 billion. Like, that's nuts. I mean, Vanity Fair marketed VeVe as a multi-billion-dollar company. You know, you think OMI is not worth that? Is worth less than half that, or 0.25% of that? I think a lot of manipulation happens, just part of life.
Yep. And yeah, you don't see too many pumping and dumping, or like pump, you know, they're just buying it. They're buying them at the low and keeping those prices there. I guess that's the advantage of stacking something, right? You can put up a nice little sell wall and then hope somebody posts underneath you, right? And then you just start picking them off a little bit, one by one.
I haven't tried
we
that.
see that. Yeah,
right?
we see that. Yeah,
that's legal. That's why I want 1% of the. You know what I'm saying? I want some power and control. So you know that's why you stack.
just like Dr. Doom, you want the control.
Yeah,
That's right.
I have that with the Lokis. I have 2% of the secret rare, almost 1% of the ultra rare, and I have almost 2% of the common.
Oh, you're still collecting those.
Oh yeah, I will never sell. I might trade every now and then if the opportunity, you know, like presents itself, but I will not. I told people I will not sell.
I love it.
Randy, there was this crazy lady. I won't call her crazy, but her name was Marcy, and she came into Spaces. You hear about her?
Yeah, people. I was in a space too, and people said like, "Yo, you have competition." She never told me how much alligator Loki she has, but she said she's from Louisiana. It's a Cajun girl, and she likes.
She's definitely from Louisiana. You didn't even have to say she was from Louisiana. I knew she was from Louisiana.
Also, this woman has she has alligator Lokis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
She
you
has
hear
a
that rumor they're making an alligator Loki show?
No, it's not a show. It's
okay.
It's a 12 series comic.
Okay.
And it is only released every other Friday. So I have to wait like 23 weeks to get the whole thing. But
okay.
yeah.
I saw something, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
new spin-off series, and I can't wait to read it all.
Yeah, Marcy goes, oh, I have more Lokis than Randy Chavez, my buddy.
Wait,
Randy Chavez.
he
I got
said that?
259 of them. I stacked.
Wow.
I'm best gator stacker this side of the Mississippi. No, she didn't say that part, but it's basically what she sounded like.
But she has 259 common.
She said something like that. Yeah, she's got like she's got more commons than you.
How many commons are there?
How does that make you feel, Randy?
Not good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting like it's,
game,
Oh no, now he's stepping his game up right now.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many commons, uncommons, and secret rares are there for that?
there's 9,800 common.
Okay.
There are 3,400 ultra rare, and there's 800 secret rare. So
that's it.
I can't say who they are, but there is me and 3 other people have 13% of the secret rare locked up, and we don't sell. So it's a good amount.
Now you're making me want to go buy one just so I can be part of the team. I have a common,
Nice.
but that's it. I'm weak.
So we're I want more.
I just want to see the Gator gang wars play out on the VeVe verse. You just come up like, and you all just coming at you like with all your gators and stuff,
West
and
Side
everyone
Story.
just like, sets up their gator army. Be awesome.
Unfortunately, I only have 5 gems right now, so I can't I can't buy anymore.
Well, they're cheap. They're cheap off app. I'm sure you can find some.
If I could buy someone from some off app, I guess I have this tax bill I have to pay, and I have to honestly, if it wasn't so huge, if it was only like a couple $1,000s or like not maybe low 5 figures, I'd be like, IRS won't catch me for like a year or two. But it's pretty big, and they might. So I have to.
Don't play with the IRS, buddy. We love you too much. We want to keep.
Oh no, I know. In my high risk lending business, there are some people that were like audited, and their lives were hell for like 18 months, and they're always on like a watch list now. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
You ever seen that movie Catch Me If You Can?
I have not.
Oh, what?
With
that's a good
Leonardo
movie.
DiCaprio? That's a good one.
That's a good movie.
Randy,
Oh, I guess I gotta watch that at some point.
Randy, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Tom Hanks,
man.
right?
Yeah,
Based
he's
on a true story too.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. Yeah, Tom Hanks was the guy. It's Tom Hanks catching Leonardo DiCaprio. It's
Or
a
trying
cat
to.
and mouse game.
Oh, okay. When I hear that, I thought that was like a love story, and it's like, oh, like the guy's chasing the girl. I didn't know who was in it. But every time I heard about that, I just thought it was like a romantic comedy.
No, it's really good.
Oh,
There's
all
a
right.
short amount of love. Just a short amount.
It's very
With Tom
entertaining.
Hanks and Leonardo.
And Leonardo is great, and it's a very entertaining movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. Quick question, guys. What does long term mean in the VeVe world?
In the VeVe that could be like a lot of these people are first time investors. So this app is only like 14 months old. This is like someone's short term. This is a lot of people's short term. But for some people that are first time investors, they see their account in red, let's say they bought from like, December, January on the pump, and especially people that hear these like amazing stories. I bought Doge, and then like 3 weeks later, I like 80x my money. It is for new people. It's probably it's probably like mid to long term for them, because they have to wait months and just to break even. But I don't know, for those of us that have been here for a while, that have been in the investing game, there's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. What say you, Sleepin'? What's long term mean to you?
I mean, long term would be. I mean, I've had some investments for a long time, but I mean, I'm expecting to see some interesting results in three years, probably. Bitcoin for me was 3 years. I remember, and I've said this multiple times. I remember, doing all kinds of analysis on it. I'm like, this thing is never going to get to $1,000. Like, it is almost impossible. Like, I don't even know what it would take to get this thing to $1,000. And then, I kind of almost forgot about it. And then, it just exploded. It was so insane. Like, day after day after day, I just rode it from $250 all the way to $20,000. And then it fell back to like 17 or 50, somewhere in there. And then I sold all my Bitcoin. This is back in like 2017, I think it was.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I really have been out. And then I had some Ethereum and stuff too. I bought that obviously really low. And then I was really out of the crypto game entirely until I got back in with VeVe. Oh, no, that's not true, because I bought some Bitcoin back when it was like $8,000.
Nice.
So, but because it had fallen, it kept falling and falling. So I was like, wow. Because I still thought the thing was going to get to 100K. I mean, it's going to take a while. I do believe it'll get to 100K.
Yeah, it will.
But yeah, even that, I didn't think I would. I don't know. I didn't question it. I really questioned the $1,000 mark. I was like, I just don't. Yeah, I did some numbers and whatever. So, yeah. So with Omi, and there's this weird relationship between Omi and NFTs, as we know, and it will be even more stronger once you can buy and sell them back and forth, right? So the NFTs and the Omi, I really think that it's such a crazy tokenomics behind it all. I just don't understand how the thing, $1 probably be lower off, but like 10 cents, 50 cents, I just don't understand how it can't get there.
Yeah. I love doing the math on this because there's, and I don't know if you guys know Kathy Wood, so real, like, I think one of the best investors of our time, really early with Tesla. She got like laughed out of the room when in like 2019 when she said her predictions for Tesla for 2025, but they like came true already.
Yeah.
And she says that Bitcoin will be at a $20 trillion market cap by 2030. And if we're like 300 billion behind, we're not even at a billion. So let's say 300 billion behind Ethereum. I think that if we are $18 trillion behind Ethereum by 2030, and we're at a $2 trillion market cap, which is a lot, but let's just say we're 18 trillion behind. Well, what would that look like in order for us to reach that? Let's say we're at $200 billion circulating supply. So in the next 8 years, we burn 112 billion, and there's 200 billion left. Well, in order to get to a $2 trillion market cap, that's $10 OMI. I mean, if it's, but so let's say 2 trillion is a little high. Let's say, $1 trillion market cap. Okay, well, it's still a $5 OMI. It's still, I think most cryptos in the top 10 by 2030 will have either trillion or multi-trillion-dollar market caps. It's gonna be a lot. The
one thing that I this tweet, I think a lot of you probably saw it too, which was significant, was the guy who had fled Ukraine, and he said he lost everything. He went to the bank to get his money out. He couldn't get any of his money out, and he took his family and they left, obviously. And he would have had nothing except the shirt on his back and their suitcases, but he had a bunch of Bitcoin.
How much did he have?
I don't know. He didn't say, but he said that the Bitcoin saved him because he has some money now to start over. Whereas obviously, a lot of these refugees are like totally screwed. Whatever they had in Ukraine, what are businesses or what, they've left it all. It's all blown up probably now. It's terrible, right? But it's so interesting. I thought that was very interesting. And, we know it's true. And we already know that a bunch of countries that have currency issues, government issues, bank issues, they're going to look closely at all of these cryptocurrencies, and the most, none of them are really that stable, but at least there's something there of value that they can, depend on rather than their current situation, which might be, super volatile.
Yeah, I think that in the, El Salvador was the first one. I think Ukraine just did it. They legalized.
Yeah, they did.
Crypto.
They did?
Did they make Bitcoin legal tender, or did they just legalize like the crypto transactions and all that?
I believe they did both. I think there was like that emergency bill they just passed like a couple days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's already happening, and it's, and for me, because once again, I've only really been back in this world for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I pay things with Ethereum. People want to be paid in that. I can, starting people, you can start buying big time comics with, Bitcoin or Ethereum now, probably owe me, hopefully in the future, right? I'm talking about physical comics. And so it's weird. It's like, as I said, I've explained to people, once you get your money into this cryptocurrency world, you don't really take it out. I'm thinking, I got to constantly take this out. But as I said, it's like when you go to Europe and you take your money and you put it into euros and you're going around Europe. It's not like, now I'm going to Germany. I'm going to now take all my money back into USD and then go to Germany and then put it into the franc, or, they take euros there too. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, no, you leave it in that ecosystem. You're just in that ecosystem and you're running around Europe, and that's just kind of where you are, right? And so I think it's once you get into this cryptocurrency, everything, and as more and more things take cryptocurrency, just talking about eBay taking cryptocurrency, Amazon's going to probably jump on board in the next, I would imagine, 24 months. All these stores, at one point, I think a lot of stores did take Bitcoin and then they stopped. I don't know if you remember that. This is way back when. Like, I remember Bitcoin being, you could pay for things at Best Buy with Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
It was like 2015, 2016. This was like, I was like, oh my God, this thing's going to blow up. I'm going to make millions.
Wow.
But yeah, I do remember that. And then they took it away, and maybe making that up, but I don't think so. Because I remember being pretty excited about that. And Bitcoin was so volatile at the time, and people just couldn't handle it. And they didn't understand like how to value it. And it was, it was so new, right? So, that's going to all come back. You're going to be able to go to the, whatever, put your wallet in at Amazon, and they don't care. They're just taking money.
Yeah. And they're probably just going to keep it on their balance sheet. There's so many.
It's just another thing. Just another thing.
And they just learn new challenges and new solutions, right? The challenge of the processing, the transaction speed has now been solved with the Lightning Network, right? And with Bitcoin. And it's the same thing we see with the VeVe site, right? Which leads me into my last question. And I do appreciate, Joe and I both really appreciate your guys' time here. We've had a lot of fun. I think that this has gotten more exciting as we've gotten along. You guys are pretty cool cats, but maybe we'll hang out and have a cerveza or something sometime in person. That'd be pretty cool. So here's my question. I hear a lot of things going on Spaces and YouTubers talk and all these people. I mean, like, let's just be honest. We all came into this for the same reason. And Sleepy, you talked about it, right? There's an upside opportunity, right? If anyone says they come into it for anything other, like they're not in it for the money, I will put my QR code up of my vault, and you can just send me all your NFTs, right? and since you don't care about them, right? You just care about the art or the whatever it is, right? The reality is money, opportunity to make money. However, what's kept us all around maybe another reason, right? Like, I came in to make the money. I came in for the opportunity, but now I'm actually in the space and I'm having fun, and I find myself spending a little more time, and I'm meeting these cool people, right? So I guess that's my wrap up question for both of you is what keeps you, right? This is a 2 hour plus long podcast. It's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, wherever you are. You got 3 kids. You got better things to do with your time than talk to these 2 knuckleheads over here in California, but you are, and we're grateful for that. So what keeps you motivated, both of you? That's the question I have. What keeps you motivated to be in the space, learn, continue to grow? Is it just the IP, the intellectual property? Is that it? Or is there more to it than that?
I'll let Sleepin go first.
I was going to say, you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first then. So there is a few different things. I like, this is going to sound so conceited. It's not that. I like being right, and the data is all there. I'm good at 3 different things, one of which is pattern recognition and seeing all of these. And I used to be this crazy conspiracy theorist, so sometimes I do connect dots that aren't there, but a lot of times I do see some that are there that nobody else sees because they're hidden within the data. Like, you take a look at the team, take a look at how disruptive these guys are, how innovative they are, and how many things they're disrupting at the same time, and the fact that we're very, very early on this, and this will all be multi-trillion-dollar industries that we're tapping into, that we have the best IP for. And I like being right, and people have told me several times, just in the last 5 years, 6 years, hey, you maybe shouldn't get out of the military. It's hard out there. Not a lot of jobs. And okay, I did, and I started 2 companies, and they're, you're not going to make any money giving your money out to business owners that have like 500 and 600 credit. Okay, well, you're not looking at the data on why their credit's 500 and 600, and Pokemon cards, children's cardboard, their child playthings. Okay, well, made a lot of money with that, and now Tesla, same thing. So now this, but for the most part, I had a conversation with this lady, Elizabeth Jensen. She's one of the major strategists for Best Friends Animal Society, most of which now is animals. I talked to my girlfriend about it. 90% of my net worth, when OMI does go to $1, will go to animal charities. So that'll be, if I can huddle now and struggle now, then in the future, I think I can, in my own small way, change the world just a little bit.
Like that.
It's good. Mine is not as good as his. No, I mean, I think I'm with you. We want to make some money. I mean, and have some fun along the way. It's a hobby. It's, community, meeting a lot of new people. I started my channel way before VeVe, so my YouTube channel, and it's just having fun with it. But there's opportunity. There's an opportunity for huge upside. So in the comic book world, as I said, you're not gonna really, unless you knock it out of the park, you're gonna make $1,000. I mean, some people know a lot more than I do, and they buy 50 of this comic, and then they can make more money. They're smarter than I am. But for me, comics, I had kind of figured out a way to pay for it, make $50-$60 a month, and VeVe is similar, but there's huge upside here. I mean, if it goes, you're not going to make $50 a month. You know what I mean? And so that's exciting. I mean, who doesn't want, to make some money? But in the interim, it has been. I've met a lot of great people. You guys, this is my first interaction with you, but I'm sure we'll have many more. And this is great to get to know you. And I've got a chance to talk to Randy and some of the other creators and meet people on, Twitter, etc. And it's all been very fun. And then I like learning stuff. So like I've been trying to find time to learn more about actually like minting NFTs. I'm going to try and mint my own NFT. I'm going to try and do, just because I'm so curious. That's just kind of my mentality. I've always been, just like I used to mine Bitcoin, not just because I was so curious about it. You always hear about this, right? And so I had these computers down here mining Bitcoin. So it's the same thing. It's always the curiosity and the technology that's really interesting to me, and then the chance to make some money. And then the last piece, which is fun, is I do like all these IPs. I do like Darth Vader. I do like Spider-Man. I do like Miles Morales. So it's kind of like it all together for me. It's all fun for me. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Hey, Sleepy, someone in the comment section asked, Fantastic Four #5, ultra rare.
Yeah.
For $9.55. That's the floor right now. Is that a good buy?
I don't know. I'd have to look at more data, but everything is so down, it seems like a pretty good buy.
Yeah.
But because everything is so down, but yeah, I'm I don't know the mint number and other things, but yeah, it seems reasonable. I think Fantastic Four 1 and 5 have they're big, period, because of their status in history. But they have the additional piece that they haven't been pushed into the MCU yet, and the movies haven't come out. So those are huge catalysts, especially Doctor Doom. I think people might be familiar with the name, but they don't know the character. We don't know how they're going to play out the character. They had that funny Fantastic Four movie a couple years ago that probably not that many people saw. But so Fantastic Four 5 really does have a good chance to have big catalysts. And what you want is the Thanos effect. Like, nobody knew who Thanos was, and everybody knows who Thanos is now. And a lot of people are like, that guy's fucking cool, right? You know what I mean? It's just like nobody knew who, Iron Man was, right? And so you're just trying to buy it before it explodes.
So you're looking for, so you hear buy the rumor, sell the news, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you have a bunch of Fantastic Four #5s,
Which
and then this sick trailer comes out with Doctor Doom. Is that when you want to sell, or are you waiting until the movie comes out to sell?
Well, VeVe is weird because we haven't seen as much acceleration on properties like we would in normal comics. So in normal comics, what I try to do is actually sell and get my stuff on eBay before the trailer. So I have a bunch of Ms. Marvel stuff. It's actually been on eBay, and I've sold some. And so I'm selling, but yeah, you want to, that's when you want to, right? When the trailer is dropping. So another one is in this Doctor Strange 2 is America Chavez. I don't know if you know who that is, but she's in the trailer. So I have a crap ton of her stuff, and I've been selling that. And yeah, I know why Randy likes that. Anyway, but I've been selling those comics over the last 2 or 3 months leading up, knowing she's in this movie. Now, obviously, it's going to accelerate. So, and then I've kept some because, okay, let's say the character's cool, but, you know, maybe not that. The comics will be worth something. But what happens if people really love the character? It gains traction. You know, Marvel's going to know that. They're going to start putting her in more places. I think they're going to put her in more places anyways. But you know what I'm saying? Then I've held some back so that, yeah, I've held some back so that I can still sell those later on too.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're having like, you have like some liquidity pieces basically that you kind of peel off as you need it if you have a plan for the liquidity.
Yeah, and it's the same and VeVe is just, you know, once again, we're very early. You can stack a bunch of these comics. And I mean, maybe the whole thing goes to crap, I don't know. But if it doesn't, you know, even a Fantastic Four #1 is going to be worth some money.
That's my prize. But I have a secret rare. I have an SR Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I am lucky to have one as well. And that's, I mean, if the thing is what we think it is, in other words, we bridge this gap into the digital world. For the next 60 years, comics are coming to VeVe or whatever, the similar thing, and they're putting comics in. And this is the new normal for digital. There'll always be physical. These things are going to be worth a crap ton of money. Yeah. I mean, they already are, right? And I know everybody's mad that in January, you know, it blew up and then it, you know, went back down. But I look at I think January was an anomaly. We're not sure how that's going to track. I don't think we're going to get back there for another year. It kind of might be, as I've said to some people, it kind of might be like, you know, Randy, you were around here, but Omi spiked last year to this crazy high. It was like, I think it was over a cent. Yeah, we've never seen that again. It's just the full one was so insane. We're still trying to get back there. That might be January. You might have to wait for your NFTs another year for us to get back there because that crazy FOMO spike or whatever happened in January. But so you can look at it and be like, that sucks. I hate everything. And I get it. If I bought it, came in at that point and bought, I would be annoyed too, right? But the other thing that it shows us is where it can go. Like it gives us a vision of the future. And that's important because once again, when you're sitting at Bitcoin and you're like, oh, you know, like when I got in between $250 and $500, there's no way the thing can get to $1,000 because it never happened before. And so you're just like, this is impossible. And your mind gets all weird. Mm-hmm. Well, we've already seen the future. We know that Secret Rare Spider-Man can get to $100,000.
Yep.
So that kind of like breaks our mind. And so I think it's going to go back there. Obviously, I think it's going to go more. But, you know, you're talking to a guy who has a YouTube channel on VeVe. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not the best guy to be talking to. But I think that January gave us a vision of the future. And I like that vision.
Yeah. I also like the fact that the next time it pumps, there's going to be a lot less supply. So I don't think that was an anomaly. I think, you know, and we've only been doing this since November. But, you know, trading other things and you see like, I'm looking at like the common Fantastic Four #5. I'm like, okay, these are trading at $100, but I've already seen them at $220. I know they'll get there. Ultra Rare Spider-Man. Okay, that's in the mid 4s right now. I've seen it at 9,000, 10,000. Same thing with the Ultra Rare Steamboat Willies. And it's like, all right, I know I'm buying them right now. Could they go down lower? Yeah, but I'm okay buying that dip and just staying down.
You can't ever guess. Yeah, they always say you can never guess the bottom of the tops, but it feels like we're closer to the bottom than the top. And now I do question. it does feel, once again, I don't have any numbers, so we're just feeling, you know how they used to say we're getting 30 to 40,000 new users a day. So when you're watching it crazy pump in January, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, we're getting 30 to 40,000 new users a day. It doesn't feel like that anymore.
No.
And the metrics I use are collectibles. I think everybody wants. So the one that there's a lot of them. Woody would be one, but the one that I always been talking about recently is common Black Panther. I haven't heard a single person that doesn't think that one is awesome and doesn't want to own one. Okay.
That's what you've been saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
so my question is then there's only, I think, it's so awesome. Okay. So the texture on this, anyways. So I think there's 15, maybe 21,000 of those. I can't remember what it is. Just to say there's 21,000 of them. They're sitting around 80 gems. And I know people that literally have stacked 10, 20, 30, 50 of them. Okay. I own 5 of them. All right. So my question is if we're getting 30,000 new users, they're coming in and they don't want a Black Panther at 80 gems. It's almost one of the cheapest things. I get why they don't buy Spider-Man anymore. They used to. The first thing people would do when they decided to buy a collectible is they came in and they bought FA Spider-Man Common. The thing was 60 gems, and then it kind of got around 70 gems. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Randy. It sat there for months. 70 gems, Common FA Spider-Man. That was one of the first collectibles I bought. Obviously, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. And it was 70 gems. I'm like, okay, it's not 10,000. I'm going to take, Spider-Man, for the love of God. And so I was always excited that people could come in and buy that. Now, and then eventually that got eaten up and they went away. And obviously now the thing is 500, right? For a common, so that's what I'm watching is some of these ones. And Woody would be another one. I don't know. Yeah. Woody's actually kind of expensive, right? 250 maybe. 200.
Yeah. He went below that after the announcement, the more golden moments today.
Okay, but you see my point. It's these ones that are, if we truly were getting 30 to 40,000 new users and Black Panther Common is sitting there at 70 gems, I think I saw it.
73.
73. Mm-hmm. You'd think it'd be purchased. One guy would come in and because I don't think they're going to, I can't even say the word. They're not going to buy a Conan or whatever the thing is. I'm just saying, I mean, I could be wrong, right? They might buy some of those mighties. So that's where I get a little bit concerned, but
what I wonder is if the ones that we're talking about that, we've been on the space and they have the curb appeal to them and, they've got the real traction. I wonder if those ones will continue to escalate. And as they continue to, because it's in VeVe's best interest to continue putting out new drops, right? So they're going to continuously do that. And I was like concerned, can they potentially cannibalize themselves, right? Like, is the Todd, I seen the Todd, I have a couple Todds, is like 16,000. I saw it at one point. Is that the highest it's ever going to be because of the spread, the distribution of collectibles, right? And the options that are available, or will it surge back because it was the first minted collectible on the VeVe space?
And I heard, I was talking to another person. They were saying that a lot of the market cap is actually going up. So the money in the app is going up. And as you know, I mean, technically you can't get it out, but as you know, you can sell your gems off, whatever. Anyways, so it is getting spread out amongst. So your point is that why is Todd not as high? Is maybe because a lot of the guys that would have bought another Todd to push the price up is now they bought, all the new Pixar ones, all the new Black Panther ones, all these ones. So you're right. The money's getting spread out. And if you're not continuously by percentage putting the same amount in, this is what's going to happen, right? By collectibles, it's going to drop, but overall there's more money in the system.
Yeah.
But I actually think that has happened, but I also think that we are not getting as many people into the app that are buying that we used to. And I don't know why that is. I think, I think initially the people that came in, they put in 50 or 100 gems and they weren't buying anything in the secondary. You heard this. They were getting drops. Mm-hmm. Then they would win something and sell it and get gems. And now they're on their way. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, now most new users, new and old users don't get drops at all. So you literally, to start in the app, you have to put in 100 gems. I would say.
Got a lot of skin in the game, a lot more skin in the game.
And that's scary for people for something they don't trust yet.
Yeah. We had a friend It's actually one of his closest friends, Jameson, who we were telling about the app. Another one of our friends, Robert, and Jameson got on there and he got the Goofy secret rare on the drop. His first drop ever. And he's like, this is wonderful, right? Like he was all fired up. And then on the polar opposite, we have a friend who's got like the special internet that's like incredibly fast. And he's like dialed in. He's, man, this is a bunch of bullshit, man. I've been doing this for 4 months. I haven't won shh. And he's like barking about it. I was playing golf with him today. He was barking about it. He's all, man, I can't win a damn drop, man. What's up with this shit? Right?
I do think that, and in all my videos, and I think I've constantly talked about how because everybody was so focused on the drops. That's because you could actually win them, before November into December kind of got rough. Like I won a lot of stuff when I first came, but Disney, of course, was the critical point at which, you weren't winning anything after that. I have won maybe 4 things since Disney, the first Disney, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that was in November. I don't think I have a very good internet connection, and maybe Minnesota is too far away from their data centers. I have no idea. Right. But the thing about it is that you want people coming into the app to have a win. And if they're not going to win, they have to be able to buy something cool, which that's why I'm not against them having larger amounts of mints for cool stuff. Cause you just like, and okay, a perfect example one would be the second Wonder Woman, who's really, that statue is really freaking cool.
Absolutely.
Way cooler than the first one.
Yeah.
And so the first one is the first one. And I think it's like 500 gems or something insane. And the second one is falling. I think it might even be under 100 gems. I'm cool with that. Come out with cool ones that are the second edition that are just awesome that people can buy and then start having a good experience. And I know they're thinking about all this stuff. They've got 15 people thinking about this stuff.
Yeah. I think, go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, good. I was just thinking that what you're saying before, 2.5 million users, and there's not a lot of OMI holders. There's like I think there's maybe less than 200,000 OMI holders. When you're going to see, I think, a big pump when not only you have, OMI to NFT, but also when you're going to be able to put more than $350 on the app at a time.
Yep.
Like if you got $1 million in the bank, how many times are you going to sit there putting this and 300? At least for Google, it's 350. For Apple, I think it's 600.
Yeah, so it is 600 for Apple. Yeah, it's just madness. Yeah,
it'd be so much easier if you could just send a wire, or if you could just do whatever. And Ethereum people, these ETH-rich kings that just bought Ethereum at $1, and like 100 ETH is like nothing to them. They sell a little bit of ETH, they get some OMI. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot easier that way.
How much of those, when we were talking back in December, and I specifically remember, we're getting 20,000 new users a day on the app. How many of those do you think were legitimate, like non-bot accounts? Maybe that has something to do with our expectations.
I think that even if they were bot accounts, or if, let's say, someone was restricted and they made a new account just because they had to go and participate, they got a new email. Either way, it's still a registered email or a registered person or whatever that is putting money into the app. And those are the numbers that are being used at meetings for a lot of these other companies when they go and talk with Apple each week. I assume they're on the phone with Disney multiple times per day. That's probably the numbers that they use. So I think it's okay. As long as the accounts that are being made that are putting in money and spending the money, I think it's okay.
It's interesting. I heard that Facebook eliminates, I don't know if you guys heard this, but Facebook eliminates approximately 500,000 bot accounts per quarter.
Oh,
madness. I mean, I believe it. Madness.
Eliminate. So
eliminated.
That's crazy. But I think they should go to KYC. I think there's something to be said about knowing it's a real person. I think that, that it ultimately make the space healthier too, because there's
harder to cash out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think with this dip that we experienced, it was like the worst time for that Medium article to come out with MTL and all that stuff. It's like worst timing, right? And so people, I think, were like, okay, it's coming, but then that was only for a small amount of people. I'm willing to bet 50, 60 people total have the ability to cash out. Yeah. So, but we also have friends that are, middle-aged dad types. They got money and they're not coming on the app until they can cash out. And I think that's true.
So many people have said that to me, and they'll even message me once every couple of weeks and be like, can you get your money out yet? And I have to say no. And then they're like, good luck with that bullshit over there. You know what I mean? And I understand it because now it's been me saying MTL is going to be coming in the next month or two for like months and months and months. And so, yeah, it is. I think that, yes, there'll be some issues with it, but we might gain way more people than we lose.
Yeah.
When and it's just all part of the process. I look at it, my response to them, I mean, some of them are just people trolling me, which is fine, but legitimate people that are interesting. I'm saying you always are paying for something. So if there's pain, which there is a lot of pain, it's a pain in the ass to buy OMI, but that's why it's cheaper. See what I mean? It's, you're taking way more risk. There's no, you can get your money out, but there's no, way through the app to get your money out. Well, then that's why some of the prices are the way, that's why Fantastic Four #5 common is the price it is right now.
Yeah.
So, and that's the whole, and, I'm sure you guys have talked about it. It's the whole risk tolerance and, don't go mortgage your house and put all your money in here and all the other stuff. Make sure you understand what you're doing here.
Make sure you do not pay the IRS anything.
No financial advice.
Oh,
no financial advice.
I cannot wait until this is over. Honestly, though, it's going to take about a year because I'll split it up into 4 payments, and I'll pay one each quarter, and it'll get paid eventually. As long as you're making payments, it'll probably be fine.
There's a business group I belong to. It's called Front Row Dads. It's pretty cool. It's about businessmen with families and how to separate the two and not work so much and be there, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's a lot of business people that come on there, and there's, tax strategists and stuff like that. And I'll never forget this tax strategist. He goes, there's a difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. And he's like, hey, I'm going to teach you the avoidance, not evasion.
What were their biggest tips?
Man, using certain loopholes to to have those write-offs. Having your own corporation's a big one.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah. So they even got creative. Like, I could technically start a Facebook page for my corporation and use my daughters as models. Okay. And then I can pay them up to $6,000 per year as part of my corporation. And then I can pull money out of those accounts for them to pay for stuff for them. So I'm basically hiding 12 grand, but paying off, school related stuff. There's all kinds of, the rich people are always going to be one step ahead of the IRS. I know that. It doesn't matter how many are added. They're always going to be one step ahead.
I need kids to be able to do that.
What I want to know is why they stopped showing us what Pelosi's trading schedule, man.
She was the queen.
That was very helpful information.
Oh my God, yeah. Or her husband is her husband's one that did all. Yeah, that was
we got to get that. We got to get them in here on VeVe on a talk. They are never wrong.
Yeah, she's got a nice server. Hey, let me ask you. I know Comics and Crypto Sean said recently, I think it was like a month ago, he said that the Marvel comic #1 secret rare, he believes will get to $1 million one day. And I just wanted to ask both of you guys, like, if one collectible, one comic, doesn't matter, what do you think the #1 thing that's been out so far, how much do you think something would go for, and what do you think it would be like a ceiling of something within the next 3 to 5 years, let's say?
If it's just one, if it's something that's come out so far, my two main things would probably be if we're not doing something like what are those, the James Bond tickets or the Aston Martins at like 1 of 7. If it's not those, I would say either a secret rare Spider-Man or a waltz, because there are more than 4,000 millionaires that would want a waltz, more than 1,000 millionaires that would want a secret rare Spidey. And even if there's, that's what I would say, that have $1 million of play money, that would do that. Yeah,
that's a really good point. Yeah, you got to go find people that are, it's this weird marriage, right? You got to find people that are willing to spend that much money and disposable income and don't give a damn. Or maybe the utility is so incredible. I mean, if you're renting it and it's making money, so it actually has its own revenue stream, that's also going to assist in its value. And then comics, we just saw Marvel Comics 9.2 sell for like 2 million or 2.4, something crazy like that. So the physical's right there to help out Marvel Comics. There's only 600 of the, there's only 64 of the physical, or 65 or something like that of the physical ones in existence. And then there's the secret rares, or 600 of them. So yeah, I mean, it definitely is going to be up there, because you're going to get people right now. You've got a bunch of people who have a bunch of them, right? 2, 3, 5. And you got a couple of people that own them that won't sell. I'm trying to think of the people that I own that own those that are like kind of comic heads, because I think if you're not a comic head, you're going to have a price, right? Depends on where you are in your life, right? But let's just pretend those people that own them right now are not multimillionaires or whatever, although some of them probably are. They're going to have a price, and maybe when that price gets to 500, legitimately it's selling. 500,000 gems, maybe they're selling. So that's what hurts it. But yeah, I think MC1 secret rare could get to 1 million. I mean, it might take a while, but I think so. And once again, it's all its acceptance of the app, acceptance of the NFTs, all this other nonsense has to play into it also.
I think we also have to take a look at people that go cross-platform. Like there are a bunch of people, when I had the Pokemon business, that would come in from sports cards or come in from Magic. They didn't know what a Charizard was, but they're like, I know what it is in this circle and I want it. They get a first edition PSA 10, spend a couple $100,000 on it, they call it a day. There's some people that just want the top of the top. So I could picture some people coming in from another project that say, hey, I've heard about this MC1. I want to get one just because they can. That don't even care about comics.
I mean, perfect example would be that guy NFT Pirates, met the Lewis guy. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Lewis Morgan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has ridiculous amounts of money. He came in, he did not, I don't know if you guys know who we're talking about, but he came in and he was just like, secret rare Spider-Man, give me the lowest mint that you can find. Todd, lowest, I mean, he blew out, I don't even know, I'll make it up. He blew out $500,000 in the app in like a week or something like that.
Yeah, in one of his videos, he had like 200,000 gems. When he purchased I think a number like 36 Todd or something for like $50,000 or $35,000, whatever. And because it was that sub 40.
Yeah, I didn't get the sense. It's exactly what Randy said. I didn't get the sense that he was like, I've been studying VeVe for the last 6 months, and now I'm finally ready to put in gems. No, he's just like, I met this guy, NFT Pirates, and I think it's cool. And, I gave him $500,000. He gave me some gems, and now I'm buying Todds or whatever. I mean, literally, that's, if you watch that video, that's the feeling you get.
Yeah. It's just,
Yeah, exactly. Just lay it out there.
I mean, but as you said, are there 4,000 of those guys? Probably.
Yeah.
And it might be an age thing, not to be, I'm not ageism, but I'm saying, it might be, if you're a certain age, are you not that interested in that, taking that risk?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, this is the last time I'm ever going all in on one single project. Like I'm getting too old to be able to do this anymore. But I mean, if you bought something, let's say MC1 isn't the only thing you've bought. Let's say you bought an MC1, Fantastic Four #1, Fantastic Four #5, and let's say you have a couple of other NFTs, whatever. As this app goes like to the moon, okay, maybe you'll just sell some of the smaller stuff. Maybe sell Fantastic Four #5 or a Walt or Secret Spider-Man. And then once you have like, another couple $1 million, do you really need the extra $1 million? I mean, yeah, maybe if you want, but if you're getting rich enough and you don't need the money, why sell?
The other thing that I'm used to hodling things because like I have an amazing Fantasy 15 behind me. So, I mean, that's like a expensive book and I've watched it go up and up and up and up and up. And I don't really have any desire to sell it. Just like my Incredible Hulk one, it's just watch it go up and up and up and up. And so, yeah, I know what it's like to hodl those things. So I think I probably will have no problem hodling all this stuff. Any of the dupes I'll sell. That's why I buy dupes, right? But in the end, like I have one Fantastic Four #1 SR. I'm not going to sell that thing. Same with FF5 SR. I'm not going to sell that thing. I mean, never say never, right? But I'm used to hodling comics, so I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, depends on everyone's situation. Did I hear you right? You said that you have an amazing fantasy number 15. You have
right there behind me.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
it's right there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of 2,200, I think, are left in the world.
Is it graded?
Yeah, it's a 1.8. Not very high.
And it's still worth $200,000 or something.
No, it's probably worth $40,000 or something like that.
Holy.
A 1.8. A 1.8.
Hot
more than my
damn.
car.
4 chilies.
Yeah, I would get 4 chilies. And the Incredible Hulk one, I think, is worth maybe 15, maybe. I have an X-Men one. I have a couple. I have some good comics. Definitely some good comics.
Is that Ultimate Fallout #4 the one that you didn't pull the trigger on years ago for a couple, like $2,000 we were talking about? Is that your biggest miss?
No, I'm sure I've missed on a bunch of stuff that I could have bought and didn't buy. But that one was one that comes to mind. I'm reminded of again and again. The one I have that I always have high hopes for is I have a 1 in 75 her shows come out, Ms. Marvel. Super rare book. Her first appearance in her costume. And there's like only 15.
Wow.
So I thought we'll see if that character takes hold. And so that one would be because like I said, obviously there's a huge amount of people who like Spider-Man, but there's still 2,200 of those graded Amazing Fantasy 15s, which is a lot, but not that many. But when you're talking about 15, but obviously Ms. Marvel is not Spider-Man, so
yeah.
But that'd be one that I think that comic could be worth $10,000. See what I'm saying? Is it going to be worth $1 million? No, probably not. But it could be worth $10,000 in my mind. I have to probably wait a little bit, and hopefully the show was good and people like the character, all those things.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments section said, "Sleeping Comic is a beast, a true comic collector."
Yeah.
That's why we're so excited to have you on. And we're so
I appreciate
grateful.
that. Thanks. No, I am it's funny because people are always asking me questions and then I'll give my best to answer them. And they're always surprised, like, because I do know a lot about comics, and then they're always surprised with that. And then I'm like, well, I do collect. I don't have any answers for it other than I collect comics. And it is kind of goofy that the one, I do know other things, but like the one thing that I have this obscure, tiny amount of knowledge in has helped me in this other weird, in this VeVe app. It's like so weird that, because really knowing things about comics is not very helpful in life. It doesn't help you get girls. It doesn't help you. It's not a real good thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't go to a job interview and be like,
Sure.
I own a Hulk 181.
Well, actually,
Fireman.
Would you like to have a debate about Hulk 180 and Hulk 181? You can't. That's not a good job interview.
Yeah, for sure.
In the VeVe verse, Sleepin', you should have a show. Like, that meme that says like so and so like changed my mind. You should have like a show in the VeVe verse, saying like even like the most ridiculous thing, like the whatever it is, like the Bat family can take on like Venom or something like that. And then obviously that's impossible, but just to have a bunch of people come in and just be like, put in like 5 gems to like prove me wrong, and then have like all these nerd people that are triggered by your statement, and then just make like $500 a day, and you're done.
It's a good idea. Randy, you're good at those things. You have your refrigerator. You're great at coming up with these ideas. Yeah.
Hey, Randy, how many I want to know how many Lokis that refrigerator has become a cash flowing asset for you that you don't even own outright. Yeah. And I think I'm amazed at that. So how many Lokis have you gotten from that thing so far?
I mean, the commons, which are the fridge, about 2 per month, for the fridge. So I would say give me maybe like 80 common alligator Lokis, and then yeah, I've only bought maybe about 100-ish, and the another 80-ish I've had from that. But then the up here, so the standoff chart and King Mavs, those are the ones that got on for life on the freezer. So at first it was Hey David Don. It's like, all right, 1 ultra rare alligator Loki per month. And then somebody's like, how much to get on there, like, for life? I was like, yeah, I don't know. And then some like random person on the comments is like, $5,000. And I was like, yeah, all right. And then Standoff Chart was like, messaged me on Twitter. Was like, do you take NFTs? Like, yeah, I guess. So sent me, I don't even know what Standoff Chart sent me. One of them was the secret rare alligator Loki. There's like a Coke thing in there. King Mavs, though, sent 2 Nightwings and like a couple of other things.
Wow.
Which I wound up selling mostly for Lokis, but
didn't Kobe Collects offer to buy your fridge? Doesn't he want the actual fridge itself?
Yeah, but it was for like a secret rare alligator. It was for 1 secret rare alligator Loki. That wouldn't be worth it. I think if so Kobe Collects and Only Player One, they have they're on the month, 1 ultra rare per month. But if I were to sell this, like, I think it might actually be better to make NFTs of the fridge, and then sell the NFTs and give them utility, because again, what it would have to be, let's say, again, I don't know how much a cheap fridge is, but let's say this fridge sells for $5,000. Just let's say, to have it like as a keepsake or whatever.
Yeah.
I have to buy something else. I have to ship it, which is going to be like ridiculous. I have to hopefully stay here for a while, get a replacement fridge to put all this stuff on, run the risk of people saying, that's not fridge. Like, if I shave my beard, people are like, I'm unsubscribing. So I run the risk of people being offended that it's not the same fridge. And then if my landlord comes and says, like, well, you sold this, it's my property, now I want a new fridge. Okay, like, let's say, like, he makes up the lie that this fridge is like sentimental because whatever.
Yeah.
And how much am I actually netting? Is it worth the risk? Probably not really worth it. But
I like the NFT idea of the fridge, but what I really like is the idea of having an FA Dashie. I would love an FA Dashie. You need to make Dashie an NFT. I think a lot of people would buy those for sure.
Yeah, I've had so many ideas of like a Dashie coin or something like that, and I'm working around the ideas. I don't have the exact utility yet. Like, one of my ideas is like, okay, well, what about a phone call with me, like, for 1 hour per month? But okay, well, I can't make 100 of those coins then, because there's 100 hours per month is a long time. Yeah. So it would, I'm working on ideas. I haven't found the right combination of utility and scarceness and yet, but I will.
That's great. What about you, SleepynComics? I know you mentioned earlier you might look into creating an NFT. What would you make it of? What would it look like? Oh, I think you're on mute.
I have no idea. I mean, it's just I would do it more just for fun because I'm interested in it. But I guess maybe if people wanted to buy it, the thing that I was thinking of, maybe I could try and swing some deals with some online stores. So maybe if you proved that you had the NFT, then they would give you, a 5% discount, and they would be interested in doing it because they get more business or something like that. And I do know some major online store owners, so that could be interesting. So there'd be utility, like Randy said. The question is what would it be? I don't know. I guess it could be I don't know. I'd have to figure it out. I don't know. I certainly don't want it to be a picture of my face. I'll tell you that.
It could be you sleeping.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
something
That'd
with
be a good
bees
one.
coming
That'd
off.
be
It could be
Yeah.
you sleeping
Oh.
and you're dreaming of different comic books.
Yeah, there you go. I should have that design. I like that. I like that.
10%.
Sleeping. I don't know if there's a if this would be okay for you to do, but there was someone tried to, or they wanted to like leak my lewds on Reddit. They said like, if you don't take down your YouTube channel, you're going to leak your lewds. But I was like, there's no way that, and I'm trying to think of all like the women like that I was with that like that would have been crazy enough to like record us like doing the deed. And I was like, is there? But then what they wound up doing was I made an Instagram post one day. I don't even know if I have it on here anymore. I don't. It's got to be in the stuff I was tagged in. And then I was like, no, like heck off. I'm not taking my I'm not getting rid of my YouTube channel. Get out of here. But you should take a picture of yourself like this, sleeping, where you don't have to like show your face. You could wear like a Deadpool mask and just take a, and that could be your, like, I'd buy it. I'd pay $100 for that of you sleeping.
Since we've gone off the rails and it's like whatever. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could do that. I have a fun. This guy did a drawing of me and sent me this crazy drawing he did of me. So I guess that I could use that. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's.
We may get a lot of comments here about this future NFT that's going to pop up. We may have to move this upstream.
Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it, guys.
Yeah. It's, and I don't know. I could definitely, I have to talk to some artists. Okay, all right. So my favorite artist is currently right now is Clayton Crane. Do you know who that is? All right. Let me show you some stuff.
Here we Show go. And tell with sleeping.
Yes, take us around.
Oh, he's got it on hand.
Sweet.
All right, let's see what we got.
So I have a ton of his work, but like this is like an example of this is Venom.
Wow.
Cosmic Venom?
So that's the Venom book, and like this statue behind me, if you can see it barely back there, that's like based off of one of his covers. And so I had this crazy idea that I would, and I have a lot of artists that I like, that I would go and have them do like, I'd have to pay them, right? Because that's what they do. They would do some sort of crazy art, and maybe it would be like me, in my thing, or and just something crazy, because that's what they do. They're crazy artists. And then we'd try to, do some sort of crazy, panel and make it more 3D-ish, or, they're animate, whatever, because you'd have to, once again, you're paying people to do these types of things. And then it would, it's just basically like VeVe, right? They're paying artists to do that. And so it would be not only, so I could pull in people who would be interested in supporting the channel. I would pull in people because they like Clayton Crane. There's a lot of people who like Clayton Crane. You'd pull in, see what I'm saying? And then of course, I could have utility, like, if you had your NFT, you could get 10% off at this place and this place and this place, and that's my whole thing. And once again, just some of my background in business and whatever is, I do believe that to sell products, it has to be like a complete no-brainer. And then you're only going to get 5% of the people to buy it. So that'd be my concept, is it would have to be like, oh my God, this is crazy. He got one of the top artists to do it. You're going to get 10%. I want to support it. It's like it's the whole 1 + 1 + 1 that I was saying before. And then I would have a chance to sell some of them. People would actually be like, okay, that seems, it makes sense to me. I'm going to invest in that NFT or whatever it is. And then I think you have to provide a road, just like VeVe, right? You have to provide a legitimate roadmap. Like, I'm going to hold this NFT for 10 years. Why? Like this, and this. And it can't be like, and maybe it is, maybe it's simple. It's like, I just want to support his channel. He's a good guy or whatever, that might be it. But I think it has to be a little bit more than that personally. So that's what the thoughts that I have on it.
Yeah, you got to have utility with it for sure, and a fan following.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've actually met this guy, really nice guy. Once again, I don't even know. I'm sure his original art is whatever, $10,000 or something like that. I don't even, but it's never about how much it costs. It's always about how much can you make, right? And so, you be honest with the guy. Okay, here's the deal. We're going to try and make an NFT out of this damn thing. And this is how many subscribers I have. And this, it's a math equation. And I could say, like, I can pay you X amount of money. And if we sell this much, and I'll pay you the total, it's just, so I think that would, and if he didn't want to do it, there's other artists he could talk to. And maybe if you go through all the artists and nobody wants to do it, then, I don't know, whatever. That was just my idea. Crazy ideas, at the time when you're thinking.
A year from now, we may look back at this podcast and be like, this was the start of something really big.
It's not going to be that big. Let me tell you. It's not going to be that big.
Well, it depends how many you make. If you make like 100 of them and you list them for like, I don't know, like maybe not to be a troll. I don't know, just to be like, if you make 100 of them and they're like $100 each. Okay, well, if Obi goes to the moon, I might just buy a bunch of like, look at all this sleeping coin I have. Look at all this sleeping at it.
Yep.
Yeah. It'd be fun.
No, you know what I'm saying. It would be priced around that price point. But $100, I feel like $100 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. I don't feel like it is.
I mean,
so
you have what, 4,000 subscribers? 5,000?
6,000, I think, almost.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure there's more than 2%.
You're selling out quick. You're selling out quicker than the new comic book drop that's hitting tomorrow.
Yeah, what's up with that tomorrow? Tell us about this new comic.
Okay, so X-23 is like considered the new Wolverine. It's a pretty interesting character that could have. It's that whole Young Avengers next generation, and it's a pretty for comic book collectors. It's one of those, up and coming characters. I'm going to buy a secret rare if I can, if it's not priced out. So that's my take on it. I wouldn't. I'm hoping they're under 500. That'd be my guess. I'm just trying to guess. Just knowing what secret rares have been. A crap secret rare we've seen is selling for 150.
Yeah, the one today.
Yeah, 200, right? Luke Cage, who is a known, Luke Cage had his own Netflix show, but he's not like the biggest star in all of Marvel. His secret rare sells for around 500 gems. So I'm thinking between 500 and 150, but that's just me. I don't think it's selling. It's not Ghost Rider. So it's not selling, Ghost Rider out the door. If you remember, the secret rares were selling for 700 to 100 to 1,000. Now, obviously they're more. So I don't think it's Ghost Rider. I think it's under 500. I like X-23. So I'll take a shot. I mean, of course I'll buy a common and uncommon. The question is do you buy, more than that? I'll probably stack 5 of them, maybe. Depends on what it is, right? If they're $6, I might, it's a potentially they'll build that, it's a, I'm trying to think. I definitely have some X-Men comics somewhere that have, she's on the cover. She's a big, she's a bigger character now. So yeah, I would take a shot at it.
Awesome.
Good to know. We got the inside info. Got the inside scoop.
Yep.
For what it's worth.
I'm glad the conversation around NFTs is geared towards, all right, what can this do for people? And that utility base, because anyone can just draw up a JPEG, you know what I mean? And just, I have my own NFTs. Let's just put it out there and make some money and see what happens. But the innovation going on right now with utility, I think, is huge. And the fact that we're all holding these digital assets is great because they could turn into cash flowing assets and monthly revenue, and cash flowing assets are king. You want cash flowing assets. People pay a lot of money for those. So that can not only raise the value up of our collections, but also generate some good income, passive income, which is the name of the game. So I'm excited to see where we go in the future, long term. You know, when we first got in, I'm like, man, let me just make a stack for like in like a year, and that's it. But man, I've gotten so invested in the community and people like you guys and meeting people online. And Randy, we text all the time, and like, you know, it's much deeper than that now. And now I see long term. I asked you guys what long term meant. To me, long term means, yeah, the next 5 years, let's go. Let's see what happens, and we'll hold and see what happens from there.
Yeah. And I mean, if you don't need to sell your whole bag, and you could just, sell a little bit, take profit, sell a little bit, or take your initial investment out, then the rest is house money, then sell a little here and there. I think this goes nuts by 2028, 2030, because we have 2 Bitcoin halvings by then. And yeah, this will be a pretty different world. I bet you at that time there will be talk about legislation that will try to ban people from driving, because full self-driving will be so safe. And a lot of people on the left are like, oh, you want to drive your car, Mr. Man? Okay, I guess you don't care about people then. I guarantee you that's the platform they use. But yeah, this is it. Come to DesignerCon this year.
Yeah, I want to go to DCon. Is that the place? What happened to VeVeCon? Is there ever going to be a VeVeCon?
If there is no VeVeCon by the time it owes me $1, I'll put one on myself. Like,
we'll help you. We're pretty
all
good.
right. I'll put it to. We'll do 2 of them. We'll do one in spring and one in fall, or one in summer, one in winter. We'll do 4.
And early.
If Homie's $1, yeah, I'll do 4 VeVeCons. That's fine.
If we do 4, each of us will have our own NFTs, and we'll launch. We'll give them 100 for early signups.
Oh, I'm game.
Florida. We'll have it in Florida.
Well, I was gonna have. All right, okay, I mean, I guess we'll have 5 then. Or maybe I don't know, because I would have like one in California, one in New York, I guess one in Florida, and then I'd like to have one in Australia and one in Europe.
What about one in Minnesota?
Yeah.
There's 3 in the States.
Nobody wants to come to Minnesota. Trust me.
The people are nice there, down to earth.
They're reasonable people here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They have to be. It's so damn cold.
It's so cold.
When is DCon? Is that beginning of November?
Yeah, it was early November last year.
Where do you know where it's going to be this year?
I imagine in Anaheim. And that's where it was last year. It was great. It's so much fun.
That convention center down there, yeah, it's a nice area. You walk around downtown Disney and all that. Get a churro.
We did something. I was drunk for most of it. We did something. One of the nights we went to like Cheesecake Factory, I think. And they had. I don't know if this is let me know if this is an East Coast thing. I've only been to California like twice. When I ask you like, oh, can I get a ginger whiskey or a whiskey ginger? Like, what do you think goes into that drink?
Ginger ale and some whiskey.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly what I had. Like 2 different waiters both bring me not ginger whiskeys or whiskey gingers. They had something with like almost like an old fashioned. There was like a
actual ginger in there.
No, there was some type of fruit in there but I was like, yeah, this. So I think at the end I just got Long Island's, but
no. But the best ginger ale out there is Verner's, which is made in Detroit, by the way. Verner's.
Nice.
If you've never had Verner's, that's good. And you put it over some ice cream, some vanilla ice cream, and you eat it. It's called a Boston Cooler.
Wait, what's it called? So
Boston Cooler. You got ginger ale, and vanilla ice cream. It's like a root beer float, but they call it a Boston Cooler.
There's something called Not Your Father's Root Beer, and if you put that in with vodka with vanilla ice cream, it's a root beer float. It's great
Good stuff. Well, I hope to see you guys at DCon. Sleeping, you gonna try and go to DCon this year?
Yeah, it depends on obviously my commitments with my family and other things. But yeah, I have a pretty flexible schedule other than being a chauffeur and driving them around. But my one daughter is graduating this year, so she'll be off hopefully, doing her thing, and then my son is getting older, and then I have a way younger daughter who's in first, going into second grade, so she still needs assistance. So my wife will have to be like, all right, you're gonna go there and leave me here with a second grader.
November 18th through the 20th, we have some awesome people that are tuned into the YouTube channel. That's the dates of the convention.
Right before Thanksgiving.
And there's nothing in the summer or anything like that? Obviously, COVID was kind of putting everything on hold constantly.
Jeremy Padauer is going to be in San Diego Comic-Con. Me and Tap said we might go for that. When did you say the November DCon was when? What dates?
November 18th through the 20th.
Okay.
Is that a weekend?
Yeah, it starts on a Friday. So that's the other thing. Be advised that on Friday, the con is only Saturday and Sunday for like general public, but for VIP is only Friday. And so me and Taps, like in general for Comic Cons, we thought that con starts at like 10 in the morning, it goes to like whenever, but we didn't realize that Friday was only for VIP and that it started at 5. So we get to the hotel, we do whatever, we make our way over, try to get there at like 2:30, like 3, whatever. We realize it's closed. Like, it's closed. What? And then people around there say, yeah, they open at 5. So we went to the bar for a few hours, not knowing that when we would get into Designer Con, everyone would be wanting to buy us beers. And it was like, oh, God, we made a huge mistake. So yeah.
So you still don't know what DCon is like. That's what
it's a whirlwind of. I was talking to Alex there, and David Yu had given him like a shopping list, like, hey, I like these artists. Can you get this, like 8 different things, like for Dave, that Alex had to buy for David.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we're definitely going to try and get out there. I've been, my wife has friends that, have different baby showers that live different places or, have wedding showers and stuff. And I've been this whole time, but yep, I'll take the kids. No problem. I'm saving up my travel points here to be able to get out and get free for that one. And I've just been waiting for the right one. So it sounds like DCon's the one to do it.
That's great.
What's that, the weekend before Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
It is, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, no, I'm in. I want to meet everybody, say hi.
It's so much fun. It's just nothing but love. People are just so chill. They're so Sleepin' will have people ask for autographs. If your guys' channel blows up, you guys might have been asked for autographs at all.
Yeah, Sleepin', I want you to autograph my comic.
A lot of people have asked me that.
Yes.
But I hope they have it in the app. Then I can sign it in the app or whatever. People want me to sign it through the app.
Oh yeah. You can just transfer it.
I don't know how. Once again, and people have told me that they said that that'll be a thing. Like
it will,
especially just for comics, because I am known for comics. So then they'll say, I have my FF5, if you can, because they said they're going to bring that to the app. You're going to be able to sign and it'll go on the blockchain and all this other nonsense.
Yes.
I've had people tell me, and I'm sure Randy you have too, where they say, I want to buy a comic from you. I don't care what it is, but then it will be on the blockchain from you. Yeah. And so, most of the time I just send it to them for free because I don't want to deal with
you could probably have a booth set up. Well, because at one point I just took a chair from the VeVe booth because everyone's just like, hey, can I get like a selfie? Can you like sign my shirt? And this is before the idea of like transferring NFTs and that digital ownership. So I guarantee you could have like a chair and a little table saying like, hey, for $5 or just for free, whatever. They're like, transfer me your comic so I could transfer it back to you. So it has my digital signature on that. And they don't have to try to buy it from you and pay the fee. They just transfer it. And yeah.
We got SleepynComics coming in. He's coming in. Let's get him.
Yep.
He's in the show.
Protect the president.
Give me my secret. I got a secret rare number 5.
I'll probably wear glasses like I normally do. and I actually don't always wear a hat. So I actually
incognito.
Have hair.
Ooh.
People thought I didn't have hair, right?
Is that first
I
appearance
actually have
hair?
FA hair right here on the World
whatever,
NFT channel.
And so then I can, and if I wear a mask, I will be incognito. No,
There you go.
it's it's just so goofy to me. Probably for you too, Randy, because it's just like it's just goofy at all. It's all goofy. And as soon as my channel started, and it probably happened to you guys too, as soon as it starts picking up, then you get crazy DMs, you get crazy. It's just all it's actually calmed down over the past couple months. But
Randy, someone said that you're gonna bring your fridge to the decon.
I've never said that. But yeah,
also confirmed right here.
There's more artwork and fan art of my fridge, I think, than there is of me now. Like there's
awesome.
I think David Yu's hair is the culprit of like a few of them. He drew the fridge in all different colors, and the fridge was like throwing up a rainbow. And on the pieces of paper, it was like the words L is in Lima, S is in Sierra, and D is in Delta. And that's
that's awesome.
Yeah. So there was a lot
creative. That's definitely the best Twitter name I've seen in this space is David Yu's hair. I think I tweeted that to Jeremy Padower. He was like, "What's the best Twitter name out there?" And I put David Yu's hair.
And David Yu follows him, which is nuts.
Yeah, that's really fun. Yeah.
So apparently on Instagram, I don't know if I could say who runs it, but on Instagram, VeVe's Instagram, Alex has access to that, and that account of VeVe Collectibles on their Instagram gets messages from David Yu like, the cat is happy today, like absolute nonsense messages from David Yu, and Alex would like tell us like, he would go to David like, like nobody else reads this account, it's just me. And so David Yu's a jokester, he's a funny guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a really nice guy, very gracious guy. I actually messaged him on LinkedIn, and we went back and forth a little bit about some API stuff in the future of that with the app and everything. Quick question, and guys, I know it's late. Please,
we're only about to clips 3 hours.
I did not expect to go 3 hours. Please dip out if you need to go.
Yeah, I probably should run here, but let's
we'll make sure this is the last one because Joe loves to talk.
I'm a little long-winded. I'm sorry.
We love you though.
When we do finally have that information out from the blockchain, and you go into Immutable, and you can actually see, okay, this comic, it's a decently ranked comic. Let's say it's a a common, but with a nice mint or whatever. Okay, fine. But then you see, I don't know, 20 other people have owned it and bought and sold it. Do you think that value goes down?
It's dirty. It's ruined.
I think
what did Paulie say about Adrian? Like, you're not a virgin. Like it's contaminated.
Yeah.
Because I think anybody looks for anything to differentiate. This is how it is, and there's nothing to differentiate them. Of course, the commons are the commons, or the secret rares are the secret rares. And so, if you have a secret rare, and it's I think Spencer today in that they had that huge AMA today, and he had a great point. Is it's all differentiating points. So, okay, let's just pretend the mint number is 45. It's been traded 400 times, and another one is 49, but it's only been traded twice. It all plays into this, and this is why it is interesting, the algorithm of some sort of a grading labeling system, because most humans are not going to be able to go look all that up, even though you would be able. I'm sure there'll be tools. Obviously, a Mutascan is a tool. You could go look this up. Yeah. But are you going to accumulate all that? And are you going to be able to accumulate that all on the fly? And how is that going to work? And maybe it doesn't matter for the comments. No offense to the comments, but maybe it matters to the SRs when there's 600 and people are spending $600,000 for something. They're like, I'm going to research the shit out of this for $600,000. I want to know who's owned it. I want to know. I think it's going to be a thing. Yeah. And, the thing that it's not printed in the same order or whatever it was, like we were talking about earlier, I think that's going to be a thing. It's all going to be a thing. And I don't actually think it's bad. I think it's good. It's just part of the, fun of it all. I mean, it's just part of it, right? When you go buy a car, you gotta, check out everything, right? You got to make sure this, and this. It's all part of it. That's what it's going to be.
Well, now when I buy Common Comics, I'm going to be thinking in the back of my head, like, hey, this is kind of like opening a pack of something. I don't know what I'm getting. I'm not going to know. I know what I have, but I'm not really going to know what I have until more information actually comes out.
And that's why, like, a lot of the guys, it's called Genesis. What do they use? It's a Genesis that you purchase it right off the mint. And you know how to look up? Do you know how to look up your own stuff
on Genesis?
No, on a Muta scan or whatever it is.
No, I don't. No.
Okay, so you go log into your web, your Omi web wallet or whatever, and you get your wallet ID. So then you go to a Muta scan, and there's somewhere where you can search. You put it in, and it's going to go look at your wallet, and it'll show you every single thing, every single collectible you have and comic in your wallet. But it's all IDs. It's going to be very difficult. You're not going to, unless you can remember, oh yeah, the last thing I bought was a Todd, and then I bought a, whatever. Then you click on it, and then it will start, and you click on, then I think you click on it, and then you might have to click on the token ID, and then it will show you all the transactions associated with that token ID. Once again, it's difficult because it's all IDs. So if you wanted to do it for fun, like when I just am trying to learn, me. So I went and I bought a stupid, whatever, a cheap comic off of the app. You could see it get loaded in there. I clicked on it, and then I was like, oh, this one is owned by 8 people before me. Interesting. And this is, I think I even wrote it down, the ID of it. Let me just look at it here. But anyways, that's how you do it. And then if you somehow were able to stitch it all together, you could figure out. That's why I was like, crap, I need to be a little bit more careful if I were to share my wallet ID. Not that I care, but then someone could spool out every single collectible I own. They could look at when I bought it. Not that I care, once again, but it is and this is some of the reasons why I think they haven't released this data. It's more about a privacy issue potentially than it is I think there's a lot of issues going on here, and I think they're probably like, we're not ready to go down that, because people, but it's interesting. But it's two things. But the good thing is it's all there. Okay, the metadata is not there, but when they say to you, yeah, all our stuff is printed on the blockchain, it's on layer 2, blah, blah, blah. No, as far as I can see in my little digging, they're not lying. It's all right there. It's all being put on layer 2 in IMX right there for, exactly like for all the reasons that blockchain, the technology is as incredible as it is, it's literally all right there for you. They are not lying.
Right.
So that's good. I mean, I always said, like, not to, share FUD and whatnot, but there's a million things that could make this thing completely crash to the ground that we take as promises that could not work out. I mean, maybe they're not putting on the blockchain. They're just throwing it into a relational database. Maybe we, at certain points, like, we didn't know because we couldn't see the Go chain. Maybe Randy knows more than I do, but I don't think we could see the stuff on the Go chain. At least to my knowledge, we couldn't. But now
I'm not sure if we could.
So I'm happy about that, because a lot of this is all built on these crazy promises. And if any of those kind of fall through the cracks, then the house could kind of, obviously become unstable. But from that perspective, which is the most core thing that we're, promised, that this crap is on layer 2 blockchain, and then all that stuff, it seems and smells like it's all what they have said to us.
Right.
So that's good.
So on the opposite end of what I was saying before, like, no, it's ruined. You had 7 different owners. It reminds me of a Aston Martin ad back in, I don't know, it was like 10, 12 years ago, whatever, where it did not have a picture of the car. It had a picture of, it was talking about leasing an Aston Martin. So not a new one. It had a picture of a beautiful woman, like, making coffee and like a, counter or whatever, like in like lingerie. and the caption said, "You're not the first, but do you really care?" So if you take that and you say, "Oh, okay," like if it's a secret rare, like whatever, like Tales of Suspense, first appearance, like Hawkeye, whatever, and let's say that's really big or something. Okay, maybe it's had like 8 different owners, but it's the cheapest. Like where's the cheaper option? At that point, if you are spending that, and there's a $6,000 difference between that one and the one above it. Okay, well, $6,000 still $6,000. Probably one. I mean, it really depends on each person. There's going to be people in many different camps, so I think there'll be some for each.
Cool.
I better run.
Awesome.
Right.
Hey, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. SleepynComics, Randy Chavez.
Just so you know,
I tip
when
my
you go,
digital cap. I tip my digital NFT cap to you.
cheers. When you go and X out of StreamYard, do not just X out of the tab. You have to hit end stream, because I did that before, where on my last stream that I just did, where I clicked out of the StreamYard, but I didn't end the broadcast. And my friend Justin was just like, "Why am I left here alone?" And I didn't know that. I just sat on the toilet, and he gives me a call. And he's like, "Yo, Chavez, like, you're still live." I was like, "What? No, I'm not." So thankfully, he just thankfully is fine. But I didn't like come out into the still broadcasting with like no pants on.
I appreciate that. I'd like to run for public office one day, so thank you for that.
Get it? All right. I'm gonna bounce.
Guys.
Meow, meow, meow. All right.
See ya.
Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Some of you have been tuned in the whole time. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.